Within the quiet workings of the human body lies a network of processes so intricate, so delicately balanced, that their full harmony is easy to overlook. Every moment, within each cell, thousands of chemical reactions unfold, each one depending on the presence of small but essential molecules that guide and sustain them. These molecules are neither the fuel that burns nor the framework that supports. They are something subtler, quieter, and yet entirely indispensable. They are the vitamins and minerals, the body's silent helpers, the microscopic custodians of health. To understand vitamins and minerals is to recognize that life itself depends not just on what is abundant, but also on what is scarce. Our bodies are built from macronutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. These provide the bulk of our energy and form the architecture of our tissues. But without the micronutrients, those trace elements and delicate compounds required only in milligrams or micrograms, the body's machinery cannot run. Enzymes would falter, hormones would misfire, and cells would lose their rhythm. The distinction between macronutrients and micronutrients, then, is not about importance, but about proportion. The great paradox of life's chemistry is that the smallest ingredients often play the largest roles. Vitamins are organic compounds, meaning they are built around carbon and derived from living things. Minerals, by contrast, are inorganic. They are the elemental gifts of the earth itself: iron from the soil, calcium from stone, iodine from the sea. Yet, despite their different origins, both converge within the body to create a continuous flow of function and renewal. They serve as coenzymes and cofactors, partners to the countless enzymes that drive metabolism. Without them, even the most basic tasks, breathing, moving, it is a humbling realization that the body cannot manufacture most of these compounds on its own. Unlike carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which can be built and broken down within us, vitamins and minerals must be acquired from outside, from food, from sunlight, from the world around us. In this sense, nutrition becomes a dialogue between the human body and the environment. The plants that draw minerals from the soil, the animals that graze upon them, and the humans who partake in both, all are bound together by this invisible exchange of elements. The same iron that once rested in the heart of a mountain may one day circulate through your bloodstream, carrying oxygen to your cells. The calcium of ancient seas may now fortify your bones. Such is the continuity of nature's chemistry. When we speak of vitamins, we speak of a discovery that changed the course of medicine and nutrition. For centuries, ailments like scurvy, rickets, and pellagra baffled physicians. They were not caused by infections or poisons, but by the absence of something unseen. Only in the early 20th century did scientists begin to uncover these missing pieces, small organic molecules present in certain foods that could prevent and even reverse these mysterious diseases. The term vitamin itself comes from vital amine, coined by biochemist Casimir Funk in 1912. Though not all vitamins are technically amines, the name endured, a quiet tribute to their essential role in sustaining life. Vitamins are usually divided into two categories: water-soluble and fat-soluble. The water-soluble group includes the B-complex vitamins and vitamin C. These dissolve easily in water, circulate freely in the bloodstream, and are not stored in large quantities within the body. Because they are lost through urine, they must be replenished regularly through diet. The fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K are absorbed along with dietary fats and stored in the liver and adipose tissue for future use. This dual nature gives vitamins their unique rhythm within the body, quickly like a melody in motion, others lingering like a slow, sustained chord. Minerals, too, have their own quiet hierarchy. Some, like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and chloride, are required in relatively large amounts and are called macrominerals. Others, such as iron, zinc, copper, selenium, iodine, and manganese, are needed only in trace quantities, but are no less vital. Each fulfills a distinct function, from building bones and maintaining heart rhythm to transmitting nerve impulses and catalyzing chemical reactions. In their absence, the body falters. In their excess, the same balance that sustains life can tip into harm. Thus, health resides not in abundance, but in proportion, a balance so fine that it is often maintained without our awareness. When you eat, every bite becomes part of a grand chemical conversation. The digestive system breaks food down into its smallest units: amino acids, simple sugars, fatty acids, and micronutrients, releasing them into the bloodstream. From there, the body distributes these nutrients with remarkable precision. Vitamins hitch rides on carrier proteins. Minerals pass through gates in the cell membrane, guided by electrochemical gradients and molecular signals. Each nutrient finds its destination, joining in the silent orchestration of metabolism. Consider, for a moment, the quiet intelligence of the body's systems. Calcium levels in the blood are regulated within an extraordinarily narrow range. Too little, and the body releases hormones that draw calcium from the bones. Too much, and the same network of glands signals the kidneys to excrete the excess. Sodium and potassium work in partnership to maintain the electrical potential of every cell, enabling the heart to beat and the nerves to fire. Iron binds to hemoglobin, turning blood the color of life itself. These are not random processes, but finely tuned symphonies, rehearsed and refined over billions of years of evolution. The effects of deficiency or excess unfold slowly, often imperceptibly. When the diet lacks a certain vitamin or mineral, the body compensates at first, borrowing from its stores, adjusting its chemistry. Only after time do the signs appear: fatigue, weakness, poor concentration, subtle changes in skin or mood. In severe cases, whole systems begin to fail. Yet even here, the body's resilience is remarkable. With proper nourishment, balance can be restored, functions revived, harmony regained. The relationship between vitamins, minerals, and overall well-being extends beyond physical health. These microscopic nutrients influence our energy, our clarity of thought, and even our emotional equilibrium. Vitamin D, synthesized in the skin through sunlight, affects not only bone strength but also mood regulation. The B vitamins support the nervous system, shaping how the brain handles stress and emotion. Iron contributes to alertness and vitality, while magnesium helps muscles relax, both physically and mentally. Though invisible, these influences ripple through every aspect of human experience. It is easy in modern life to forget that nourishment is not simply a matter of calories. The body thrives not on abundance alone, but on diversity, a varied intake of foods that offer a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals. A colorful plate often hints at a balanced one. The orange of carrots and sweet potatoes, providing beta-carotene. The deep greens of spinach, offering iron and folate. The yellows of grains bringing B vitamins, and the reds of fruits gifting vitamin C. Even the simplest meal, thoughtfully composed, becomes a quiet act of restoration. As you listen, imagine your body at rest, its inner systems continuing their tireless work. The heart beats rhythmically, the lungs draw in air, and within each cell, enzymes turn nutrients into energy. The vitamins and minerals you have gathered through food are there too, not passive passengers, but active participants in this nightly maintenance. They help repair DNA, balance fluids, transmit signals, and renew tissue. The body, in its wisdom, knows what to do. Our role is simply to supply the materials and allow the process to unfold in peace. In this lecture, we will wander gently through the landscape of these essential nutrients. We will meet each vitamin and mineral, not as abstract chemical names, but as companions in the story of life, each with its purpose, its origins, and its quiet influence upon the body. We will explore where they come from, how they work, and what happens when they are missing or overabundant. Through this calm exploration, we will come to see how every molecule, no matter how small, plays its part in maintaining the vast and silent harmony of the human form. For now, as you breathe softly and let your body settle, know that these silent helpers are already at work, unhurried, invisible, yet ceaselessly devoted. Every heartbeat, every gentle inhalation is a reminder of their presence. The body, after all, is not merely alive. It is luminous with chemistry, sustained by elements as old as the stars themselves. And in that quiet understanding, we begin our journey into the world of vitamins and minerals, the subtle foundations of life's enduring balance. 2. The nature of vitamins. Vitamins occupy a unique position in the story of life. They are not sources of energy in themselves, nor are they building blocks of muscle or bone. Instead, they are the gentle conductors of the body's inner orchestra, ensuring that every instrument plays in harmony. They enable enzymes to act, regulate the pace of chemical reactions, and allow the larger nutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats to be properly utilized. Without them, the human body could have all the fuel and structure it needs, and yet still fail to function. They are the catalysts of vitality, the unseen regulators of balance and growth. Every living organism depends upon vitamins in some form, though the specific compounds differ from species to species. Humans, for example, cannot synthesize vitamin C and must obtain it from food, while many animals can produce it naturally within their bodies. This simple difference reminds us of the delicate dependency of human life upon the environment. Our physiology evolved not in isolation, but in constant relationship with the natural world. Plants, the fruits, the boundary between body and world is not fixed. It is porous, chemical, and deeply connected. When scientists first began to understand vitamins, it was through the study of deficiency diseases rather than abundance. Scurvy on long sea voyages, rickets among children in industrial cities, pellagra in communities reliant on corn, and beriberi among populations eating polished rice. All of these once mysterious afflictions shared a common thread: the absence of a vital nutrient. The discovery of vitamins in the early 20th century marked a quiet revolution in medicine, shifting the understanding of disease from purely infectious causes to the realm of biochemical insufficiency. It was no longer enough to eat one's fill. One had to eat with variety, to nourish not just hunger but health itself. Each vitamin, in its essence, is an organic compound needed in minute quantities, but vital beyond measure. They are classified broadly into two families: water-soluble and fat-soluble. This simple distinction determines how they travel through the body, how they are stored, and how they are excreted. The water-soluble vitamins, which include the entire B-complex group and vitamin C, dissolve readily in water and circulate freely through the bloodstream. Because the body cannot store them for long, they must be replenished regularly through diet. In contrast, the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K require dietary fats for absorption and can be stored in the liver and fatty tissues, forming small reserves that the body can draw upon when needed. The difference between these two categories shapes the rhythm of how vitamins act within us. The water-soluble vitamins behave like a constant stream, always flowing, always in motion, easily lost but easily replaced. The fat-soluble ones are more like reservoirs, slow to fill and slow to empty, providing long-term support to systems that rely on continuity rather than speed. Together, they form a dual system of immediate and sustained nourishment, reflecting the body's need for both quick responses and enduring strength. When one considers vitamins more closely, a remarkable diversity of form and function emerges. Vitamin A, in its active form known as retinol, supports vision and the integrity of skin and mucous membranes. Vitamin D, synthesized in the skin through the action of sunlight, regulates calcium absorption and bone growth. Vitamin E acts as a lipid antioxidant, protecting cell membranes from oxidative damage, while vitamin K plays a crucial role in blood clotting and bone metabolism. The water-soluble group, by contrast, often participates in energy metabolism, helping to release energy from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The B-complex vitamins, numbered and named through years of discovery work, not in isolation but as a team. Thiamine, B1, supports nerve transmission and energy metabolism. Riboflavin, B2, assists in oxidation reduction reactions that drive the conversion of food into cellular fuel. Niacin B contributes to the production of NAD and NADP, molecules central to energy transfer. Pantothenic acid, B5, forms part of coenzyme A, essential for fatty acid metabolism, while pyridoxine, B6, aids in amino acid synthesis and neurotransmitter formation. Biotin B7 helps enzymes involved in gluconeogenesis. Folate, B9, supports DNA synthesis, and cobalamin, B12, ensures proper red blood cell formation and neurological function. Each plays its quiet role. Each depends on the others for the smooth operation of metabolism. Their cooperation within the body mirrors the interdependence of all living systems. Vitamin C, though not a member of the B complex, is another water-soluble nutrient that exemplifies the theme of connection. It participates in collagen synthesis, helping to maintain the strength of skin, tendons, and blood vessels. It also serves as an antioxidant, neutralizing free radicals that could otherwise damage cells. Its role in immune health has long been recognized, though it acts less as a shield and more as a subtle regulator, maintaining the function of immune cells and the integrity of tissues. The sailors who once cured scurvy with lemons and limes did so without understanding the chemistry behind it. But they were, in essence, restoring the balance of this essential compound. To appreciate vitamins is to appreciate subtlety. They are not dramatic agents of change but quiet facilitators, supporting the countless biochemical reactions that sustain life. A deficiency does not appear overnight. It begins as a whisper, a slight fatigue, a diminished appetite, a change in skin or hair, perhaps a fading of mental sharpness. The symptoms progress gently, almost imperceptibly, until the underlying lack becomes undeniable. In the same way, recovery through proper nourishment is gradual and restorative. The body responds with patience, mending what was disrupted, re-establishing harmony, one molecule at a time. Equally important is the understanding that vitamins rarely work alone. They function in concert, relying on minerals and other nutrients for their effects. Vitamin D enhances calcium absorption. Vitamin C improves the uptake of iron. Vitamin E's antioxidant activity is supported by selenium. The human body is an ecosystem of cooperation at the molecular level, and to isolate one element is to overlook the broader symphony. In the modern world, the question of vitamin intake often becomes one of supplementation. Yet nature's design remains simple and profound. The ideal sources of vitamins are whole foods, where each nutrient exists in balance with others. A carrot, for instance, contains not just beta-carotene but also fibers, minerals, and phytonutrients that together support absorption and utilization. A handful of nuts provides vitamin E, but also healthy fats and trace minerals. The orange that delivers vitamin C offers water, natural sugars, and plant compounds that work synergistically. It is within this complexity that the body finds its greatest nourishment. Excess, however, can disturb as surely as deficiency. Because fat-soluble vitamins are stored, they can accumulate to toxic levels when taken in large doses over time. Vitamin A, for instance, can cause liver damage or bone pain if consumed far beyond the recommended amount, while too much vitamin D can lead to abnormal calcium deposits. Even water-soluble vitamins, though generally safer, can cause imbalance if consumed excessively in synthetic form. The principle remains constant. Health is a matter of balance, and balance is maintained through moderation. The story of vitamins, then, is not one of abundance, but of precision. It reflects the same elegant economy found throughout nature. A seed contains exactly what is required for growth. A leaf captures exactly as much sunlight as it needs. The human body, too, thrives on just enough, not too little, not too much. Vitamins remind us of this truth. They embody the fine-tuned equilibrium that defines life itself, a balance between supply and demand, between the inner world of metabolism and the outer world of nourishment. As night falls and the body settles into rest, these vitamins continue their tireless work. Within every cell, they help enzymes repair DNA, rebuild proteins, and prepare energy for the coming day. Though they make up only a tiny fraction of our physical being, their influence extends to every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet pulse of thought. The body is never truly still. It hums softly with biochemical activity, guided by these invisible companions. To understand the nature of vitamins is to glimpse the delicate craftsmanship of life, how simplicity and complexity intertwine, how small things sustain the vast. In the chapters ahead, we will explore these molecules in greater depth, following their pathways through the body and observing how they shape our health from the inside out. But for now, it is enough to know that within the silence of your body, these gentle forces are at work, silent, patient, and vital, ensuring that life continues in perfect, tranquil rhythm. 3. Vitamin A, the vision keeper. Among the many vitamins that sustain human life, vitamin A occupies a place both ancient and essential. It is one of the first vitamins to have been identified, and perhaps one of the most poetic in its role, for it governs our ability to perceive light itself. Every color we see, every movement we discern in the dimness of twilight, is possible because of the subtle presence of this nutrient. Yet its influence extends far beyond vision. It shapes the integrity of our skin, the resilience of our immune system, and even the development of the embryo within the womb. To understand vitamin A is to see how one molecule can bridge the boundaries between sight, protection, and growth. Vitamin A exists in several forms, each adapted for a specific role in biology. The term does not refer to a single substance, but rather to a family of related compounds, known collectively as retinoids. The active forms retinol, retinol, and retinoic acid are derived from animal sources, while plants provide precursors called carotenoids, such as beta-carotene, which the body can convert into retinol as needed. This elegant conversion process reveals a quiet intelligence within our physiology. Rather than relying solely on preformed vitamin A, humans evolved to draw upon the pigments of plants, transforming the colors of the natural world into fuel for vision and vitality. The story of vitamin A begins, fittingly, in darkness, deep within the retina of the eye. Specialized cells called rods and cones translate light into electrical signals that the brain interprets as images. In the rods, the cells responsible for vision in low light, a molecule called retinol binds to a protein named opsin, forming a complex known as rhodopsin. When light strikes rhodopsin, the retinol molecule changes shape, triggering a cascade of events that send an impulse along the optic nerve. The image is born in that instant of transformation. Yet for rhodopsin to be restored and ready to sense light again, the body must continually regenerate retinol, a process dependent on an adequate supply of vitamin A. When this supply runs low, vision in dim conditions begins to falter. This is the origin of night blindness, one of the earliest signs of deficiency, known since antiquity by healers who prescribed liver or fish oil to restore sight. Beyond the eye, vitamin A guards the surfaces of the body that form our first barrier against the external world. The skin, the lining of the respiratory tract, the digestive system, and the urinary passages are all covered in epithelial tissue, a layer of cells that relies on vitamin A to maintain its structure and function. When this vitamin is lacking, these tissues can harden, dry, or become prone to infection. The eyes may develop xerophthalmia, a condition in which the cornea thickens and eventually scars, leading to blindness if uncorrected. The skin can become rough and flaky, the lungs more susceptible to respiratory illness. In this way, vitamin A weaves itself into both defense and renewal, protecting the body's boundaries while allowing them to regenerate quietly and continuously. Its influence also extends deep within, into the realm of growth and cellular differentiation. Retinoic acid, one of the active metabolites of vitamin A, acts as a signaling molecule that directs cells toward their proper forms and functions. During embryonic development, it guides the formation of organs, limbs, and tissues, ensuring that each grows in balance with the others. Even in adult life, retinoic acid continues to influence gene expression, helping to regulate the turnover of skin cells and the production of new immune cells. This molecular guidance system is subtle yet profound, a reminder that vitamins are not mere nutrients but messengers of biological order. The sources of vitamin A reflect the diversity of life itself. In the animal kingdom, it is stored in concentrated form in the liver, where it accumulates as retinol esters. Consuming liver, fish oils, eggs, or dairy provides preformed vitamin A, ready for use. In the plant world, it exists as carotenoids, richly colored pigments that give carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and apricots their vibrant hues. When these foods are eaten, enzymes in the intestinal lining split the carotenoid molecules and convert them into retinol, adjusting the rate of conversion based on the body's needs. This adaptive process ensures that excess intake of carotene does not lead to toxicity. At most, it may tint the skin, a gentle golden tone, a harmless reflection of abundance. The history of vitamin A deficiency is intertwined with the story of human diet and culture. In times and places where animal foods were scarce or fats were limited, children often suffered the most. Their eyes would dry and cloud, their growth would slow, and their resistance to infection would fade. In the early 20th century, scientists finally connected these symptoms to a deficiency of a fat-soluble substance, later identified as vitamin A. Subsequent public health efforts, including fortification of foods and the promotion of colorful fruits and vegetables, dramatically reduced these illnesses. Yet in many parts of the world today, deficiency remains a leading cause of preventable blindness, a quiet reminder that even the smallest nutrients can hold immense power over life and health. While deficiency can be devastating, too much vitamin A can also cause harm. Because it is fat-soluble and stored in the body, excessive intake, particularly from supplements or concentrated animal sources, can lead to a condition known as hypervitaminosis A. The symptoms, though often slow to develop, include headaches, dizziness, joint pain, and in severe cases, liver damage. The skin may peel, the bones may weaken, and the nervous system may be disturbed. Pregnant women must take special care, for very high doses can interfere with fetal development. As with many things in biology, the key lies in balance. The same molecule that heals and protects in moderation can injure when taken in excess. The metabolism of vitamin A illustrates how intimately the body regulates its chemistry. After ingestion, it is absorbed in the small intestine with the help of dietary fats and bile acids. Inside the cells of the intestinal wall, it is packaged into lipoproteins, and transported to the liver, where it is stored until needed. When the body requires it, perhaps to repair tissue or to replenish the retina, retinol is released into the bloodstream, bound to a special carrier protein that keeps it stable and directs it to the proper tissues. In this constant exchange, the body maintains a steady equilibrium, conserving its stores while ensuring that no system is left wanting. Even as modern science unravels the intricate biochemistry of vitamin A, its symbolic power endures. It represents illumination, both literal and metaphorical, the ability to see clearly in darkness, to preserve the boundaries of the self, and to foster growth from within. Its presence in the foods of vivid color reminds us of the link between nourishment and the living world. The carrot that absorbs sunlight and transforms it into carotene is, in a sense, storing the energy of the sun in a form the human body can use. When we eat that carrot, we participate in an ancient cycle of transformation that connects plant, animal, and light in a seamless chain of life. In the quiet hours of the night, when the eyes close and the world fades to shadow, vitamin A continues its silent duty. The visual pigments in the retina regenerate, preparing for the dawn. The epithelial cells of the skin renew themselves, guided by signals carried by retinoic acid. The immune system remains alert, its cells dividing and differentiating, ready to defend. All of this unfolds without effort, without awareness, a symphony of chemical precision sustained by a nutrient that once began as a beam of sunlight, captured by a leaf. To reflect on vitamin A is to appreciate the continuity between the microscopic and the vast. A molecule of retinol may seem insignificant, yet without it, sight itself would dissolve into darkness. The immune system would weaken, the skin would lose its protective grace, and the rhythms of growth would falter. Within that single molecule lies the memory of evolution and the whisper of the natural world that sustains us. It is the light within the body's chemistry, the vision keeper, the guardian of renewal, the quiet reminder that health depends as much on the unseen as on the visible. And so, as the eyes close and the body drifts toward rest, vitamin A remains at work in the stillness, shaping life's balance, one photon, one cell, one heartbeat at a time. 4. The B complex, the energy orchestra. Among the many nutrients that sustain the human body, few are as intricately woven into the rhythm of life as the B vitamins. They are sometimes spoken of as if they were a single substance, but in truth, they are a family, a network of distinct yet cooperative compounds that share similar chemistry and overlapping functions. Together, they form the B complex, a set of vitamins that guides the release of energy from food, supports the nervous system, and maintains the health of blood, skin, and mind. Their story is one of collaboration, of multiple voices blending into one continuous harmony. It is as if each B vitamin plays an instrument in a vast biochemical orchestra, and through their combined effort, the music of metabolism is sustained. The discovery of the B vitamins came gradually, piece by piece, through careful observation and the patient unraveling of nutritional mysteries. Early researchers knew that removing the outer layer of rice led to a disease called beriberi, characterized by weakness and nerve damage. They did not yet know the cause, only that something essential had been lost in the polishing process. The missing substance was eventually identified as thiamine, or vitamin B1, the first note in the B complex scale. As scientists continued to explore the relationship between diet and health, other compounds were isolated, each performing a unique role within the same general theme of energy metabolism. What began as a single discovery grew into an entire suite of vitamins, each named in the order of its revelation. At the heart of the B complex lies the process of turning nourishment into vitality. Every cell in the body relies on a steady flow of energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. To create ATP, the body breaks down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in a series of finely tuned chemical reactions, many of which cannot proceed without B vitamins as coenzymes. Thiamine, for example, assists enzymes that convert glucose into usable energy, acting as a molecular bridge between food and fuel. Riboflavin, or vitamin B2, forms part of two essential coenzymes, FAD and FMN, which transport electrons within the metabolic pathways that generate ATP. Niacin, or vitamin B3, contributes to NAD and NADP, carriers that shuttle energy between reactions like gentle couriers moving through a network of microscopic roads. Each of these vitamins, though chemically distinct, participates in the same great flow of transformation, allowing life's processes to unfold with seamless efficiency. Further along this intricate chain, pantothenic acid, or vitamin B5, joins the orchestra. Its role is to form coenzyme A, a molecule that acts as a central connector between the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Without it, the body's energy systems would fragment, unable to exchange intermediates or adapt to shifting demands. Vitamin B6, or pyridoxine, adds another layer of refinement. It aids in the synthesis of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, shaping both mood and cognition. And it facilitates the metabolism of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. In doing so, it allows the body not only to produce energy, but also to build and repair itself with precision. Biotin, known as vitamin B7, contributes to this harmony by supporting enzymes that manage the synthesis of fatty acids and the conversion of nutrients into glucose. Folate, or vitamin B9, works closely with vitamin B12, known as cobalamin, to create and repair DNA, ensuring the faithful replication of genetic information in every new cell. This partnership also governs the formation of red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout the body. A deficiency in either vitamin can lead to anemia, a condition marked by fatigue and pallor, reminding us of how essential these invisible compounds are to vitality. Each B vitamin, though distinct in structure, shares certain qualities. All are water-soluble, meaning they dissolve in the bloodstream and are not stored in large quantities. This ensures that excess amounts are safely excreted through urine. But it also means that a steady intake through food is necessary, because the body cannot hoard these nutrients. They flow continuously through our physiology like a gentle current. Their rhythm mirrors the constant renewal of life itself, the daily cycle of intake, use, and release that keeps us in balance. The sources of the B-complex vitamins reflect the diversity of the natural world. Whole grains, legumes, seeds, nuts, and leafy greens provide many of them in abundance. Animal foods such as meat, fish, eggs, and dairy supply preformed forms, particularly vitamin B12, which is absent from plants and must be obtained through animal products or fortified foods. This distribution across food groups demonstrates the ecological unity of nourishment. Plants and animals together compose the human diet, offering not only sustenance, but also the precise molecules required to keep our inner chemistry in harmony. The effects of deficiency vary depending on which vitamin is lacking, yet they often share a common thread of fatigue, weakness, and mental cloudiness. When thiamine is absent, nerve function deteriorates, leading to the weakness of beriberi. A lack of riboflavin can cause inflammation of the skin and eyes, while niacin deficiency leads to pellagra, marked by dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia. Folate deficiency results in anemia, and in pregnant women, can cause neural tube defects in infants. Vitamin B12 deficiency also brings anemia, but adds neurological disturbances, from tingling sensations to memory loss. These conditions remind us that energy is not a simple matter of calories, but of chemistry, that without the right catalysts, even the most abundant diet cannot sustain the delicate processes of life. Excess intake of B vitamins, while generally rare, can occasionally cause imbalance when taken in large supplemental doses. Because they are water-soluble, toxicity is uncommon, yet extreme levels of niacin, or B6, for instance, can lead to discomfort or nerve irritation. In nature's design, moderation is the constant principle. Nutrients are meant to work together in measured proportions, never in isolation. One of the most fascinating aspects of the B-complex family is its effect on the mind. The nervous system depends heavily on these vitamins, not only for energy but for the synthesis of neurotransmitters and the maintenance of myelin, the insulating sheath that allows nerves to transmit signals efficiently. A deficiency in B vitamins can therefore manifest as irritability, confusion, or even depression. Conversely, an adequate and balanced intake supports mental clarity, resilience, and calm. This connection between chemistry and consciousness reveals the profound unity of body and mind, the way that nourishment shapes not only the flesh, but the thoughts that arise within it. In the natural order, the B vitamins serve as mediators of transformation. They help convert sunlight captured by plants into the energy that moves through all living beings. The starch of grain becomes muscle. The sugar of fruit becomes motion. The protein of a seed becomes thought, all through the quiet work of these invisible molecules. It is an unbroken chain linking soil, plant, animal, and human, each drawing strength from the last in a rhythm as old as life itself. The very name B-complex suggests interdependence, and that is perhaps their most beautiful quality. No single B vitamin stands alone in its function. Each depends on the others for activation and balance. This synergy reflects a deeper truth found throughout biology. Cooperation sustains existence. Just as cells work together within organs and organs within systems, so too do these vitamins collaborate to preserve the energy of life. As the day fades and the body enters its nightly cycle of repair, the B vitamins continue their unseen work. Within every cell, enzymes carry on their tasks of breaking down nutrients, producing ATP, and restoring the reserves spent in the activity of the day. In the brain, neurotransmitters are synthesized, memories consolidated, and energy quietly stored for the morning to come. These processes unfold effortlessly, powered by the gentle hum of B-complex chemistry, ensuring that the body awakens, renewed, alert, and balanced. In the end, the B vitamins remind us that vitality is not a matter of force or speed, but of harmony. Energy is not simply generated, it is orchestrated, regulated, and shared. The B-complex serves as the conductor of this internal symphony, translating nourishment into movement, thought, and life. Their presence sustains every heartbeat, every breath, and every flicker of awareness. They are the music of metabolism, soft, continuous, and eternal, guiding the body's performance from dawn to dusk, from waking to rest, from the visible world of form to the invisible pulse of being. 5. Vitamin C. The healer and protector, vitamin C, known scientifically as ascorbic acid, is one of the most familiar of all nutrients, yet its story is woven through both the history of human exploration and the quiet daily chemistry of life. It is a vitamin that stands apart, water-soluble, fragile, and essential, serving as a cornerstone for the maintenance and repair of tissues. Its presence in the body is fleeting, for it cannot be stored in large quantities, and unlike many animals, humans cannot synthesize it. Each day, we depend upon the food we eat to restore our supply. Despite its simplicity, this molecule touches almost every aspect of biological health, from the structure of the skin to the resilience of the immune system, from the integrity of blood vessels to the subtle chemistry of thought and emotion. Vitamin C first entered the pages of history through hardship. During the long sea voyages of the 17th and 18th centuries, sailors often developed a disease that left them exhausted, bleeding, and near death. Their gums swelled, their skin bruised easily, and old wounds reopened. This condition, known as scurvy, claimed countless lives before its cause was understood. Observant ship surgeons eventually discovered that citrus fruits could cure and prevent it, though the chemical identity of the curative agent remained unknown for centuries. When ascorbic acid was finally isolated in the 1930 seconds, it became clear that this humble compound was indispensable not only for survival at sea, but for life on land. Its absence leads to collapse, and its presence restores vitality. The reason for this lies deep within the fabric of our tissues. Vitamin C plays a central role in the synthesis of collagen, the most abundant protein in the human body. Collagen forms the scaffolding that supports skin, blood vessels, bones, tendons, and connective tissues. It gives strength to the walls of arteries, elasticity to the skin, and integrity to the framework of organs. The formation of collagen depends on enzymes that require vitamin C as a cofactor. Without it, collagen molecules remain incomplete, weak, and unable to form the tight, resilient fibers that give structure to tissues. This explains the bleeding gums and fragile skin of scurvy. They are signs of a body whose internal fabric is coming undone. When vitamin C is restored, the enzymes resume their work, and the body quietly begins to mend itself. Beyond its role in building tissues, vitamin C acts as a powerful antioxidant, defending the body against the subtle wear and tear of oxidative stress. In every cell, as energy is produced, small reactive molecules called free radicals are generated. These free radicals can damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes if left unchecked. Vitamin C, with its ability to donate electrons, neutralizes these unstable molecules, converting them into harmless forms and sparing other structures from harm. This antioxidant function is shared with vitamin E and certain enzymes, forming a network of protection that keeps the body's chemistry in balance. Within this quiet cooperation, vitamin C even helps regenerate oxidized vitamin E, allowing it to continue its own protective work. In the immune system, vitamin C assumes yet another role. It supports the production and function of white blood cells, enhances the ability of phagocytes to engulf pathogens, and helps maintain the barrier integrity of skin and mucous membranes. Though it is not a cure for illness, its presence strengthens the body's natural defenses and aids recovery when infection strikes. When illness or stress increases metabolic demand, vitamin C levels in the blood often decline, reflecting its active participation in immune responses. In this sense, the vitamin serves not as a weapon, but as a healer, ensuring that the body's internal harmony is restored after disruption. The sources of vitamin C are as varied as the landscapes of the earth itself. Citrus fruits, oranges, lemons, and limes are famous providers, but many other foods are equally rich. Kiwi fruit, strawberries, bell peppers, broccoli, and leafy greens. Even small amounts, taken regularly, are sufficient to prevent deficiency. Because it dissolves easily in water and is sensitive to heat and oxygen, vitamin C can be lost through prolonged storage or cooking. The freshness of food, therefore, becomes part of its healing potential. When a ripe fruit is eaten soon after it is picked, the vitamin C within it remains vibrant and active, carrying the very energy of sunlight into the body that consumes it. The chemistry of ascorbic acid is simple yet elegant. It functions primarily as a reducing agent, meaning it readily gives up electrons in reactions that require them. This ability allows it to participate in the synthesis of carnitine, a molecule that helps transport fatty acids into mitochondria for energy production, and in the conversion of certain neurotransmitters, such as dopamine, into norepinephrine. Thus, its influence extends from the strength of muscles to the regulation of mood. Even in the brain, where delicate chemical balances govern thought and emotion, vitamin C serves as a quiet stabilizer, ensuring that signals are transmitted smoothly and efficiently. Deficiency, though rare in modern diets, still appears in situations of extreme deprivation or malabsorption, The symptoms of scurvy unfold slowly, as the body's stores are exhausted over weeks or months. Fatigue appears first, followed by irritability and aching joints. The gums swell and bleed, the skin bruises at the lightest touch, and wounds fail to heal. As the structural integrity of tissues deteriorates, even the smallest exertion becomes painful. Yet the restoration of health through adequate intake is equally remarkable. Within days of replenishment, bleeding stops, strength returns, and the body begins to knit itself whole again. It is as though the chemistry of repair had simply been waiting for the signal to resume. Excess intake of vitamin C, by contrast, is generally harmless, for the body excretes what it does not need. Occasionally, very large supplemental doses may cause digestive discomfort or kidney stones, but such cases are rare. The water-soluble nature of the vitamin protects against toxicity, reflecting nature's design of balance and moderation. The body accepts what it requires, uses it efficiently, and quietly discards the rest. There is also a psychological dimension to the story of vitamin C, one that mirrors its biochemical role as a restorer of resilience. In the same way that collagen gives physical tissues strength and flexibility, vitamin C gives the mind a similar quality, the ability to bend rather than break under pressure. When one is nourished, both body and spirit seem more capable of recovery. The steady intake of fruits and vegetables rich in this vitamin has long been associated with vitality and clarity, not only because of its physical effects, but because of the subtle connection between nourishment and emotional well-being. In the modern world, where processed foods and hurried meals can dominate, vitamin C remains a reminder of the value of freshness and simplicity. A single orange, eaten slowly, delivers more than chemistry. It offers a moment of connection to the natural cycles of growth and renewal. The same sunlight that ripened the fruit is now transformed into energy within the body that consumes it. Every cell that takes in ascorbic acid participates in that quiet exchange between earth, plant, and human life. It is a cycle as ancient as breathing, and within it lies the essence of balance. At night, as the body turns inward to rest, vitamin C continues its work unseen. Collagen fibers are renewed, wounds mend, and the soft tissues of the body regain their strength. The antioxidant systems remain active, guarding cells against the slow oxidation that accompanies metabolism. In the bloodstream and within the cytoplasm of each cell, the small molecule of ascorbic acid passes silently from one reaction to another, giving of itself, and then being restored again through the body's natural chemistry. Its generosity is endless, its action humble, its impact profound. To think of vitamin C is to think of renewal of the body's ability to heal itself when given what it needs. It reminds us that health is not a static state but a continuous process of repair and regeneration. In its presence, wounds close, tissues strengthen, and energy returns. It is the embodiment of resilience, the quiet guardian of recovery. Long after the age of wooden ships and perilous voyages, its lesson endures, that even in the vast complexity of the human body, the smallest molecules can carry the power to restore life. And so, as the body sleeps and the world grows still, vitamin C continues its gentle labor, the healer, the protector, the unassuming light that keeps the human form whole. 6. Vitamin D. Light turned to strength. Among all the vitamins that sustain the body, none carries a story as poetic as that of vitamin D, a nutrient born from sunlight itself. It is the meeting point between the outer world and the inner world, where energy from the sun becomes structure within our bones. This remarkable process, in which light is transformed into chemistry, shows the profound unity of nature and life. Vitamin D is not merely a supplement to diet, but a quiet symbol of balance between body, environment, and the rhythms of the natural world. It is the sunlight captured and remembered within us, continuing its work long after dusk has fallen. Unlike most vitamins, which must be obtained directly from food, Vitamin D is unique in that the human body can produce it. When sunlight touches the skin, a form of cholesterol known as 7-dehydrocholesterol absorbs ultraviolet B radiation. In that moment, a subtle reaction occurs. The molecule opens its ring structure and becomes provitamin D3, which is then converted by the warmth of the body into vitamin D3, or cholecalciferol. This transformation light into life is one of the most extraordinary biochemical processes in nature. It is as if the body itself is a living instrument for capturing the sun's energy, storing it not as heat, but as the potential for strength and growth. Once formed in the skin, or ingested from foods such as fish, egg yolks, or fortified milk, vitamin D enters the bloodstream and travels to the liver. There it undergoes its first conversion, becoming 25-hydroxyvitamin D, the major circulating form. From there it moves to the kidneys, where enzymes transform it once again into its active form, calcitriol. This final molecule acts as a hormone, influencing the expression of genes and cells throughout the body. Through this chain of transformations, a simple nutrient becomes a powerful regulator, shaping how calcium and phosphorus, two of the body's most vital minerals, are absorbed, distributed, and stored. The primary role of vitamin D is to maintain the delicate balance of calcium within the blood. Calcium is essential not only for building and maintaining bones, but also for muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and the rhythmic beating of the heart. Without sufficient vitamin D, the body cannot absorb calcium effectively from the intestine, no matter how much is present in the diet. In such cases, the body draws calcium from its reserves, the bones leading to gradual weakening. In children, this manifests as rickets, where bones soften and bend under the weight of growth. In adults, it appears as osteomalacia, or contributes to osteoporosis, conditions marked by fragility and pain. Yet these disorders are not simply failures of structure. They are disruptions of harmony, reflections of a deeper imbalance between the body and its environment. The relationship between vitamin D and sunlight gives this nutrient a special rhythm. In regions near the equator, where sunlight is abundant year-round, the skin produces it naturally and steadily. In higher latitudes, especially during winter, sunlight is weaker and less direct, and the body's internal stores gradually decline. This seasonal ebb and flow mirrors the cycle of the Earth itself, linking human physiology to the turning of the planet. Our ancestors, living in close contact with the natural world, received ample sunlight through outdoor labor and uncovered skin. Modern life, however, with its walls, screens, and artificial lights, often separates us from that ancient relationship. The deficiency that follows is one not only of a nutrient but of connection to the wider world of light and air. Vitamin D's influence extends beyond bones and calcium. In the immune system, it acts as a subtle modulator, supporting the activity of certain white blood cells and enhancing the body's defense against infection. It influences the production of antimicrobial peptides that protect the lungs and skin. Research also suggests that vitamin D affects the regulation of inflammation, calming immune responses that, if unchecked, can lead to chronic disease. In this way, the vitamin functions as a gentle mediator, balancing the forces of defense and repair, ensuring that protection does not give way to harm. In the brain and endocrine system, vitamin D's effects are equally intricate. Receptors for its active form are found in regions of the brain associated with mood and cognition, suggesting that it may play a role in emotional balance and mental clarity. This connection is subtle but telling, for just as a lack of sunlight can cast a shadow upon the spirit, so too can a deficiency in vitamin D mirror that dimming within the body's chemistry. The phenomenon often described as seasonal sadness or winter fatigue may, in part, be a reflection of this molecular link between light and mood, a quiet reminder that our biology still listens to the rhythms of the sun. Sources of vitamin D are found both in nature and in nourishment. Fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines, are among the richest natural providers. Egg yolks, liver, and fortified dairy or grain products also contribute. Yet sunlight remains the most elegant and abundant source, free and universal. When light touches the skin, the body knows precisely what to do. Even a few minutes of exposure to gentle sunlight, depending on skin tone, geography, and season, can create enough vitamin D to meet daily needs. The process is self-regulating. Excess production is avoided, as the same ultraviolet light that stimulates synthesis also degrades surplus vitamin D precursors, maintaining natural balance. Deficiency, when it occurs, develops gradually and quietly. At first, there may be no obvious symptoms, only a sense of fatigue, diffuse muscle weakness, or subtle bone pain. Over time, the deficiency deepens, and the bones lose density. In children, the long bones of the legs may bow. In adults, posture and gait can change. The body adapts as best it can, conserving calcium by increasing parathyroid hormone activity. But this adaptation comes at a cost. The bones are drawn upon as reserves, and the structure of the skeleton begins to reflect the scarcity of light. Fortunately, recovery is possible. When vitamin D is restored through sunlight, diet, or supplements, the body responds with remarkable resilience, rebuilding what was lost, recalibrating the balance of calcium, and restoring the quiet architecture of strength. Yet excess vitamin D, like excess sunlight, carries its own risks. Because it is fat-soluble and stored in the body, very high intakes over long periods can lead to hypercalcemia, an excess of calcium in the blood. This can cause fatigue, nausea, kidney stones, and calcification of soft tissues. Such outcomes are rare and occur almost exclusively from overuse of supplements rather than from sunlight or food. As with all nutrients, harmony lies in moderation, the measured interplay between exposure, intake, and need. Vitamin D stands as a symbol of interconnectedness. It links the stars and the skin, the outer radiance of the sun and the inner scaffolding of the body. In the soft glow of dawn, when light first touches the skin, countless molecules begin their transformation, setting in motion the chemistry that will strengthen bones, calm the immune system, and steady the mind. This is not simply metabolism, but a dialogue between the human body and the cosmos. To receive sunlight is to partake in a conversation as old as life itself. The same energy that fuels the growth of plants and warms the oceans is transformed within us into the essence of endurance. At night, when the sun is gone, the legacy of its light remains active within. Vitamin D continues to circulate, guiding calcium into the bones, maintaining the rhythm of mineral balance, ensuring that muscles respond smoothly and the heart beats evenly. It is as though a fragment of the day lingers within us, keeping the promise of warmth alive until the next dawn. The human body, in its profound simplicity, holds light not only in memory but in substance, transforming it into strength, structure, and steadiness. To contemplate vitamin D is to see how deeply life depends on the quiet cooperation of the natural world. The skin, the sun, the bones, and the blood all participate in one continuous exchange. In every sense, vitamin D is the mediator of this union, the sunlight made tangible, the invisible thread that connects human life to the greater rhythm of the earth. It teaches that health is not isolation but participation, not merely the absence of illness but the presence of harmony with nature. And so, as you rest beneath the night sky, remember that the warmth of the sun you felt today is still at work within you, converted into strength, stored in your bones, and sustaining the architecture of life itself. 7. Vitamin E and K, the guardians of balance. Within the silent chemistry of the body, there exist two vitamins whose functions complement each other in a quiet but profound way. Vitamin E and vitamin K, both fat-soluble and often found together in nature's bounty, serve as guardians of balance, one protecting the integrity of the body's cells from the wear of time, the other maintaining the careful equilibrium of the blood. They are not dramatic in their action, not catalysts of visible energy or builders of large structures, but their roles are essential to the quiet continuity of life. They work at the boundaries and intersections of human physiology, ensuring that every system remains stable, that every process unfolds in harmony. Vitamin E, known chemically as tocopherol, is perhaps the body's most powerful lipid-soluble antioxidant. Its name comes from Greek, meaning to bear offspring, a reminder of its early association with fertility. Yet its significance extends far beyond that. It resides in the delicate membranes that encase every cell, where fats and proteins meet in a fragile architecture. These membranes are exposed constantly to oxygen, to metabolic activity, to the faint risk of damage from the free radicals produced in the course of life itself. Free radicals are unstable molecules created when energy is transferred within the mitochondria, or when the body encounters pollution, smoke, or ultraviolet light. If left unchecked, they can damage the structure of the cell, altering DNA, proteins, and lipids in ways that slowly erode vitality. Vitamin E's task is to intercept these radicals before they do harm. By donating one of its electrons, it neutralizes the threat, ending the chain reaction and preserving the integrity of the cell. This act of quiet sacrifice is repeated billions of times each day, molecule by molecule, throughout the body. In the membranes of red blood cells, vitamin E prevents the oxidation of fats that could otherwise cause the cells to rupture. In the muscles and nerves, it maintains the fluidity of membranes, allowing signals to pass smoothly and tissues to remain resilient. Even in the skin, it stands guard against the subtle aging effects of sunlight and environmental stress. Once oxidized, vitamin E can be restored to its active form through the help of vitamin C, another of nature's protectors in a graceful cycle of renewal that embodies cooperation more than competition. Together, they maintain a quiet balance between oxidation and reduction, destruction and repair, keeping the internal environment in a state of poised equilibrium. The sources of vitamin E are found mainly in the plant world, where oils and seeds serve as natural reservoirs of this nutrient. Wheat germ, sunflower seeds, almonds, hazelnuts, and avocados all contain abundant tocopherols, as do leafy greens and whole grains. These foods carry the sun's energy not only in their calories but also in their protective chemistry. Because vitamin E is fat-soluble, it requires dietary fat for absorption, and once absorbed, it is stored in the liver and fatty tissues, ready to be mobilized when oxidative stress increases. The body uses what it needs and saves the rest for a moment when defense is required again. A reserve of calm stability held quietly beneath the surface. Deficiency of vitamin E is rare, but when it does occur, often due to conditions that impair fat absorption, it reveals the importance of this nutrient in the nervous system. The first signs may include muscle weakness, poor coordination, or a subtle loss of reflexes, as the protective layers around nerve fibers begin to degrade. Over time, the red blood cells may become more fragile, breaking down sooner than they should. Yet when vitamin E is restored through nourishment, the decline is reversed. The body, patient and adaptable, responds with renewal, as though the orchestra of its chemistry had merely paused and then found its rhythm once more. Where vitamin E preserves structure, vitamin K governs the art of balance. Its primary role lies in regulating the clotting of blood, ensuring that the flow of life neither escapes freely nor solidifies inappropriately. Without it, even a small wound would continue to bleed. And yet, with too much activity in its pathways, blood could clot dangerously within vessels. Vitamin K, therefore, is not merely a clotting agent. It is a mediator between two opposites, the fluidity that sustains life and the stillness that prevents loss. Its name derives from the German word coagulation, reflecting its discovery in studies of hemorrhagic disease in chicks during the 1,930 seconds. Scientists found that a certain fat-soluble substance present in green plants and animal tissues was necessary for normal coagulation. This substance was named vitamin K, and it soon became clear that without it, the body's mechanism for healing would falter. The clotting process is a marvel of controlled precision. When a blood vessel is injured, a cascade of reactions begins, in which proteins, known as clotting factors, activate one another in sequence. Several of these factors require vitamin K to function, as it enables them to bind calcium and attach to cell membranes at the site of injury. Through this collaboration, a stable clot forms, sealing the wound while allowing the surrounding tissues to continue receiving nourishment. After the danger passes, the clot dissolves in another cascade of reactions, restoring the vessel to normal flow. It is a perfect example of balance in motion, the very quality that vitamin K represents. Beyond its role in coagulation, vitamin K contributes quietly to the strength of bones and the health of the heart. It activates proteins that help bind calcium within the skeletal matrix, ensuring that the mineral remains where it is needed for structural integrity. At the same time, it prevents calcium from depositing in the walls of arteries, where it could cause stiffness or blockage. This dual action guiding calcium into bone while keeping it out of blood vessels reflects the same equilibrium found in its work with clotting. It does not create energy or structure, but orchestrates distribution, maintaining order in the movement of minerals through the body's tissues. Vitamin K exists in two main natural forms: K1, or phylloquinone, found primarily in green plants, and K2, or menaquinone, produced by bacteria in the human gut and found in fermented foods like natto, cheese, and certain meats. Leafy greens such as kale, spinach, and broccoli are particularly rich sources, their deep color hinting at the life-sustaining chemistry within. Once absorbed, vitamin K travels through the bloodstream bound to lipoproteins, reaching the liver and other tissues where it is required. The partnership between diet and intestinal bacteria ensures a steady, if modest, supply, another example of the body's cooperation with the living world around it. Deficiency in vitamin K can occur when this cooperation is disrupted through prolonged antibiotic use that alters gut flora, or in newborn infants who have not yet developed intestinal bacteria. In such cases, the blood loses its ability to clot efficiently, and bleeding may occur even from minor injuries. This is why newborns are often given a small dose of vitamin K at birth, a gentle safeguard until their internal systems mature. In adults, deficiency remains uncommon, but can appear in those with impaired fat absorption or liver disease. The symptoms, though subtle at first, remind us of how closely the processes of healing and nourishment are intertwined. The relationship between vitamins E and K is not accidental. Both share the same medium of absorption and storage. Both depend upon dietary fats for transport, and both influence the body's balance in ways that complement one another. Vitamin E guards the walls of the cells, preventing damage that could lead to inflammation or abnormal clotting, while vitamin K ensures that the blood's response to injury is measured and precise. One protects the structure of the vessel, the other governs the flow within it. Their partnership is quiet but profound, two guardians standing at the threshold between motion and stillness, decay and renewal. In the still hours of the night, when the body turns inward to repair itself, these two vitamins continue their silent vigil. Vitamin E moves through cell membranes, donating electrons where needed, keeping the tissues supple and unharmed. Vitamin K circulates through the liver and bloodstream, maintaining the balance of clotting factors, ensuring that the delicate pathways of healing remain open yet contained. Together, they embody a kind of wisdom that true health is not only the ability to act, but the ability to restore, to hold equilibrium in the face of constant change. The story of vitamins E and K is, in essence, the story of preservation. They do not create energy or movement, yet without them, energy and movement would lead to disorder. They protect the fragile boundaries that separate chaos from calm, damage from repair, loss from continuity. They remind us that balance is not a passive state but a living, dynamic process, one that must be maintained moment by moment, molecule by molecule, and as the body rests, gathering itself for the day to come. These two silent guardians remain at work, preserving the integrity of life's design, ensuring that every heartbeat, every breath, continues in quiet harmony. 8. The essential minerals, the body's elements of stability. Long before the word vitamin was ever spoken, the earth itself provided the raw materials for life. The minerals, born from stone and soil, dissolved by rain and absorbed by plants, eventually finding their way into every cell of every living thing. These ancient elements form the bedrock of our biology. While vitamins are fragile and organic, fleeting molecules of carbon and hydrogen that move through cycles of synthesis and decay, minerals are different. They are eternal. They do not break down, nor can the body create or destroy them. They are fragments of the planet itself, taken into the bloodstream, where they lend their structure and stability to the living form. In the same way that rocks give shape to mountains, minerals give shape to us, our bones, our blood, our nerves, and our hearts. Within the quiet order of human physiology, minerals perform countless tasks, most of them unnoticed. They help muscles contract and relax. They guide the passage of electrical impulses through nerves. They form the scaffolding of the skeleton and the microscopic framework of cells. Some serve as cofactors for enzymes, allowing the chemical reactions of metabolism to proceed efficiently. Others maintain balance in the body's fluids, regulating pressure, pH, and hydration. In essence, minerals are the invisible architecture of life, the foundation upon which motion, thought, and renewal depend. Minerals can be divided into two broad categories: the macrominerals, which the body requires in larger quantities, and the trace minerals, which are needed only in minute amounts but are equally vital. The macrominerals include calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and chloride. Each of these plays a role in maintaining physical structure and fluid balance. The trace minerals, among them iron, zinc, copper, iodine, selenium, and manganese, act as catalysts and regulators, enabling the body's machinery to function with precision. Though required in microscopic doses, their absence can disrupt entire systems, showing that importance is not measured by abundance, but by necessity. The story of minerals begins, in a sense, with the soil beneath our feet. Over millennia, rocks weather and erode, releasing their elements into rivers and oceans, where they are taken up by algae, plants, and small organisms. These, in turn, nourish animals and humans, linking geology to biology in an endless cycle of exchange. Every grain of salt, every molecule of calcium, every trace of iron within us is a reminder of this shared origin. The human body, though warm and living, carries within it the imprint of the earth, the same minerals that sparkle in crystals and drift in ocean tides. Among the macrominerals, calcium stands as the most abundant, making up roughly 2% of the body's weight. It is the chief architect of bones and teeth, forming the rigid framework that supports movement and protects vital organs. Yet its presence in the body is not limited to structure. Within every cell, calcium acts as a messenger, triggering muscle contractions, guiding the release of neurotransmitters, and enabling the heart to beat with steady rhythm. The body maintains a narrow balance of calcium in the blood, drawing from bone stores when intake is low, and restoring them when intake is sufficient. This cycle of borrowing and repayment, regulated by vitamin D, parathyroid hormone, and calcitonin, exemplifies the body's remarkable adaptability, a constant negotiation between stability and change. Phosphorus, the partner of calcium, complements its work in building bone, while also participating in the production of ATP, the universal energy molecule. Every thought, every breath, every step is powered by the energy released from ATP, and phosphorus is part of its very structure. It also forms part of DNA and cell membranes, weaving itself into the molecular fabric of life. In the foods we eat, phosphorus is found abundantly in grains, dairy, meat, and fish, its ubiquity ensuring that deficiency is rare. Yet its role remains profound, the bridge between the mineral world and the energetic processes of biology. Magnesium, though less abundant, carries an influence that touches nearly every metabolic pathway. It activates enzymes involved in protein synthesis and energy production, helps maintain normal muscle and nerve function, and contributes to bone strength alongside calcium and phosphorus. A deficiency in magnesium can bring subtle symptoms: muscle cramps, fatigue, irritability, and disturbances in heart rhythm. These are reminders that even small imbalances in the mineral composition of the body can ripple outward into sensation and movement. The foods richest in magnesium, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, are the same that nourish the soil from which they grow, completing a gentle loop of life's continuity. Sodium, potassium, and chloride form another triad of macrominerals, the body's electrolytic balance. Together, they control the movement of fluids between cells, regulate blood pressure, and generate the electrical potentials that underlie every heartbeat and nerve impulse. Sodium, found primarily outside cells, and potassium, concentrated within them, create a natural voltage across cellular membranes. Through this electrochemical gradient, nutrients are transported, waste is expelled, and signals are sent throughout the body. Chloride, often accompanying sodium as part of common salt, helps maintain acid-base balance and assists in digestion by forming hydrochloric acid in the stomach. While these minerals are essential, modern diets often provide sodium in excess, leading to imbalances that strain the cardiovascular system. The key, as always, is moderation, the same principle of harmony that governs all nutrition. If the macrominerals form the pillars of structure and function, the trace minerals are the gears and levers of the body's intricate machinery. Iron, for instance, carries oxygen through the blood, binding to hemoglobin in red blood cells. Each breath draws oxygen into the lungs, and iron ensures its safe passage to every organ and tissue. When iron is lacking, where even the simplest tasks become difficult, the body feels heavy, thought slows, and the pulse quickens in quiet desperation for oxygen. Yet too much iron, stored excessively in tissues, can cause harm as well, a reminder that strength always requires balance. Zinc, another trace mineral, plays a role in hundreds of enzymatic reactions, influencing everything from immune function to wound healing, taste perception, and DNA repair. It moves through the body like a silent craftsman, repairing, building, and fine-tuning. Its presence is small, but its absence leaves a noticeable void: delayed growth, loss of appetite, and impaired healing. Foods such as seeds, legumes, shellfish, and whole grains provide zinc naturally, replenishing what the body uses in its constant process of renewal. Copper, selenium, iodine, and manganese each carry their own quiet significance. Copper partners with iron in the formation of hemoglobin and serves as part of enzymes that protect cells from oxidative damage. Selenium forms part of antioxidant systems as well, shielding tissues from the subtle erosion of free radicals. Iodine, drawn from the sea and the soil, concentrates in the thyroid gland, where it helps produce hormones that govern metabolism, the body's rate of energy use. A lack of iodine can lead to goiter, a swelling of the thyroid, and sluggishness in body and mind. Manganese, often overlooked, assists in bone formation and the metabolism of carbohydrates and amino acids, its presence humble but indispensable. Together, these minerals form a quiet chorus of cooperation. None exists in isolation. Each depends upon the others in subtle ways. The absorption of one mineral can enhance or inhibit another. Calcium and phosphorus balance each other's effects on bone. Zinc competes with copper for absorption. Sodium and potassium act in opposition, yet complement one another perfectly. The body manages these interactions with remarkable precision, adjusting absorption, excretion, and storage to maintain equilibrium. It is a continuous dance of elements, a choreography so refined that it occurs without awareness, sustained by nothing more than the steady rhythm of life itself. The sources of minerals are as old as the earth. They are found in fruits and vegetables grown in mineral-rich soil, in water filtered through stone, in grains that gather nutrients from the land, and in the flesh of animals that graze upon the plants. Each meal, then, is an act of communion with the planet, a way of returning to the source from which all structure and strength arise. When the body assimilates these minerals, it does not merely consume matter, it reclaims its connection to the earth's deep foundations. In sleep, when the mind drifts into silence, the minerals continue their steady work. Calcium ions pass through muscle cells, regulating contractions even in dreams. Potassium and sodium maintain the gentle rhythm of the heart. Iron in the blood carries oxygen to the resting tissues, while magnesium calms the nervous system, allowing deep, restorative rest. The body, in this way, is never truly still. It is always adjusting, always balancing the distribution of its elemental wealth. To reflect on the essential minerals is to see how profoundly life depends on the most ancient materials of the planet. They are, in every sense, the body's foundation, not fleeting or fragile, but enduring, as old as the mountains, as constant as the tides. They remind us that health is not only a matter of nourishment but of continuity with the earth itself. Within each heartbeat, within each breath, the elements of stone and soil sustain us, lending strength to the transient forms of flesh and thought. And in that balance between the living and the elemental, the body finds its quiet, unshakable stability. 9. Calcium and phosphorus, the builders of bone and energy. Within the intricate chemistry of the body, two minerals stand as enduring partners, bound together in both structure and function. Calcium and phosphorus. They are the twin architects of the human form, shaping the skeleton that supports us and fueling the energy that sustains us. Their story is one of balance and interdependence, a delicate harmony between rigidity and fluidity, between the solidity of bone and the constant movement of life within. Every step we take, every heartbeat, every thought, draws upon the quiet cooperation of these two elements. They do not merely reside within the body, they define its strength, its stability, and its capacity to renew. Calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body, making up nearly 2% of our total weight. Most of it, around 99%, is stored in bones and teeth, forming the solid matrix that gives the body its framework. The remaining 1%, though seemingly small, is critical, circulating through the blood, permeating cells, and maintaining the steady rhythm of muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and hormonal signaling. Phosphorus, found in slightly smaller but equally significant quantities, partners with calcium in building and maintaining bone tissue, yet its role extends beyond structure. It forms part of DNA, RNA, and the molecules of energy transfer, adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. Together, calcium and phosphorus weave the connection between matter, motion, between the stillness of form and the constant flux of energy. The bones are not static, monuments of calcium and phosphate crystal. They are living organs, dynamic and responsive, constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a process called remodeling. Within the quiet of this process, specialized cells called osteoclasts dissolve old bone, releasing calcium and phosphorus into the bloodstream, while osteoblasts lay down new bone matrix, capturing these minerals again. This continuous renewal allows bones to adapt to changes in activity, to heal after injury, and to maintain mineral balance throughout life. It is a silent rhythm, a breathing of the skeleton that goes unnoticed but never ceases. When one thinks of bone as living tissue sensitive to hormones, diet, and motion, it becomes clear that calcium and phosphorus are not merely structural materials but participants in a constant dialogue between stability and change. The regulation of calcium and phosphorus in the body depends on a finely tuned hormonal system. 3 major hormones, parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, and the active form of vitamin D, orchestrate their movement between the gut, the bones, and the kidneys. When blood calcium levels fall, the parathyroid glands release parathyroid hormone, which signals bones to release calcium, kidneys to conserve it, and the intestines to absorb more through the activation of vitamin D. When calcium levels rise too high, the thyroid gland secretes calcitonin, encouraging calcium to return to the bones and be excreted in urine. This interplay of signals ensures that the concentration of calcium in the blood remains within narrow limits, preserving the body's internal equilibrium. Phosphorus follows a similar rhythm, its balance influenced by the same hormones. For where calcium goes, phosphorus is rarely far behind. The connection between these two minerals is perhaps most visible in the composition of bone itself. Bone is called hydroxyapatite, a crystalline structure made of calcium and phosphate ions arranged in a precise, repeating pattern. This matrix gives bone its hardness and durability, while the organic proteins interwoven with it provide flexibility and resilience. The union of these two components, mineral and protein, creates a material that is at once strong and adaptable, capable of bearing weight yet absorbing shock. The human skeleton, though seemingly rigid, is thus an exquisite balance of opposites, a living example of harmony between strength and suppleness. Diet provides the body with the calcium and phosphorus it needs to sustain this balance. Dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese are among the richest natural sources of both minerals, offering them in the ratio the body most easily uses. Leafy green vegetables, almonds, sesame seeds, and fortified plant-based milks also contribute calcium, while meats, fish, nuts, and whole grains provide abundant phosphorus. Yet the mere presence of these nutrients in food is not enough. Their absorption depends on other factors, especially vitamin D, which enhances the uptake of calcium from the intestines. A diet lacking in this synergy can lead to gradual depletion, where bones become porous and fragile, a condition known as osteoporosis. In this state, the silent remodeling of bone becomes unbalanced, breakdown exceeds formation, and the scaffolding of the skeleton begins to erode. Phosphorus, for all its abundance in food, must also remain in balance. Excess phosphorus, often found in processed foods and sodas, can disrupt calcium metabolism, drawing the mineral out of bones and contributing to loss of density. Modern diets, rich in phosphorus additives and poor in natural calcium, often tilt this balance unfavorably. The body, seeking equilibrium, compensates through the release of hormones that maintain blood levels at the expense of skeletal stores. Over years, this subtle imbalance can lead to weakening bones and compromised resilience. Thus, even the most ordinary meal becomes a conversation between chemistry and physiology, between what we consume and what we conserve. The importance of calcium and phosphorus extends far beyond the skeleton. Calcium ions act as universal messengers within the body, triggering muscle contractions, transmitting nerve impulses, and activating enzymes. Each heartbeat, each motion of the hand or blink of the eye, begins with the flow of calcium across a cell membrane. In the nervous system, calcium regulates the release of neurotransmitters, allowing one neuron to communicate with another. In the endocrine system, it governs the secretion of hormones. These microscopic movements of calcium ions, measured in mere fractions of seconds, orchestrate the entire symphony of bodily function. Without them, life would fall silent. Phosphorus, meanwhile, forms the backbone of energy metabolism. It is part of ATP, the molecule that captures and delivers energy within cells. Every time a muscle contracts, every time the brain processes a thought, a phosphate bond within ATP is broken, releasing energy for use. The same element that forms bones and teeth, thus powers the machinery of the mind and the heart. In DNA and RNA, phosphorus holds together the chains of genetic information, ensuring the continuity of life from one cell to another, one generation to the next. It is remarkable to consider that the element that gives structure to our bones also underlies our capacity to think, to remember, to create. Deficiency in calcium or phosphorus can manifest in different but interrelated ways. When calcium is lacking, the body draws upon its skeletal reserves, leading over time to bone softening or deformity. Muscles may twitch or spasm, nerves may become overly excitable, and the heart's rhythm may falter. In children, prolonged deficiency causes rickets, where growing bones fail to mineralize properly. A lack of phosphorus, though rarer, results in weakness, fatigue, and poor bone formation. For without its partner, calcium's work is incomplete. Yet both deficiencies are reversible when balance is restored, when nourishment returns, and the body resumes its patient work of rebuilding. Excess, however, can be as harmful as deficiency. Too much calcium in the blood, often from overuse of supplements, can lead to kidney stones or calcification of soft tissues. High levels of phosphorus can have similar effects, interfering with the body's ability to maintain equilibrium. Once again, the body teaches its quiet lesson that strength lies not in abundance, but in balance. The bones thrive not on excess, but on steady renewal, the daily exchange of minerals, guided by hormones and sustained by the partnership of light, motion, and nourishment. In a broader sense, calcium and phosphorus represent two aspects of existence itself. Calcium is stability, the element of form, the silent strength of the Earth's crust now embodied in our bones. Phosphorus is transformation, the energy of fire and lightning, captured within living cells as the spark of metabolism. One endures, the other moves. Together, they create the harmony that allows life to be both solid and vibrant. As night falls and the body drifts into rest, these two elements continue their endless conversation. Within the skeleton, calcium and phosphorus shift imperceptibly, maintaining density and strength. Within the cells, phosphorus cycles through the reactions of energy production, ensuring that even in sleep, the heart continues to beat and the lungs continue to draw air. The body's chemistry never ceases, it only changes tempo. And when dawn arrives, the same minerals that built the bones and fueled the night's renewal will rise again to meet the day, carrying within them the quiet endurance of stone and the eternal energy of flame. 10 sodium, potassium, and chloride, the electrolytic trio. Within the delicate currents of the human body, there exists a quiet electrical world, an ocean of ions flowing through cells, guiding heartbeat, movement, and thought. Among these charged particles, 3 stand above the rest in importance: sodium, potassium, and chloride. They are the body's primary electrolytes, the architects of balance within its internal seas. Together they maintain the harmony of fluid distribution, the steady pulse of nerves and muscles, and the subtle chemistry that keeps every cell alive. Their story is not one of structure, as with calcium or phosphorus, but of motion, the constant, unseen movement of charge and water that sustains the body's quiet equilibrium. To understand these minerals is to glimpse the rhythm of life at its most fundamental level. Every cell in the human body is surrounded by a thin membrane, a barrier that separates its internal environment from the world outside. Yet this barrier is not closed. It is alive with channels and pumps, constantly moving ions in and out to preserve the correct balance of fluids and electrical charge. Sodium, which resides mainly outside the cells, and potassium, concentrated within, create a delicate voltage difference across this membrane. It is a small charge, only a few millivolts, but it forms the foundation for everything from muscle contractions to the firing of neurons. Chloride, the companion of sodium, completes the circuit, helping to regulate the flow of fluids and maintain electrical neutrality. Together, these three ions create the potential for communication within the body, a silent dialogue carried out through tiny pulses of electricity. Sodium is often seen as the conductor of this internal symphony. Present in the extracellular fluid, it governs the movement of water between compartments. Where sodium goes, water follows, drawn by the simple laws of osmosis. This property allows sodium to regulate blood volume and pressure, ensuring that tissues receive nourishment without flooding or dehydration. It also plays a vital role in nerve signaling, for when a neuron sends an impulse, sodium rushes into the cell, momentarily reversing the electrical charge across its membrane. This brief spark of energy travels along the nerve's length, carrying information with astonishing speed. In the muscles, a similar process triggers contraction, allowing motion, heartbeat, and even breathing to occur with perfect rhythm. Potassium, though equally vital, performs its duties from within. It is the principal ion inside cells, counterbalancing sodium's presence outside. After each nerve impulse or muscle contraction, potassium flows outward to restore balance, resetting the electrical potential so that the cycle can begin again. This continual exchange of sodium and potassium is maintained by a molecular machine known as the sodium-potassium pump, which uses energy from ATP to keep the ions where they belong. Without this pump, the body's electrical systems would falter, communication between cells would cease, and life itself would come to a halt. Chloride, the third member of this triad, serves as the stabilizer. It accompanies sodium in maintaining osmotic balance and contributes to the body's acid-base equilibrium by combining with hydrogen to form hydrochloric acid in the stomach. This acid aids digestion and defends against harmful microorganisms. In the bloodstream and tissues, chloride helps preserve neutrality, ensuring that electrical charges remain balanced across membranes. Though often overlooked, it is as essential as its more famous partners, for without chloride, neither sodium nor potassium could perform their duties with precision. The interplay of these ions is orchestrated by the kidneys, the body's great regulators of water and salt. Each day, they filter the entire volume of blood many times, reclaiming sodium, potassium, and chloride in precise proportions, while excreting any excess. Hormones such as aldosterone and antidiuretic hormone fine-tune this process, responding to changes in hydration, diet, or temperature. When sodium levels rise, the body retains water to dilute it. When potassium falls, it adjusts through retention or release. This intricate regulation keeps the concentration of electrolytes within narrow limits, allowing all other systems, circulation, digestion, respiration, and thought to function smoothly. Diet provides the raw materials for this delicate balance. Sodium and chloride are most commonly consumed as salt, or sodium chloride, a substance once so precious that it shaped trade routes and economies. In modern times, however, salt has become abundant, and excess intake is more common than scarcity. While a small amount of sodium is essential for health, too much can raise blood pressure by increasing fluid retention. placing strain on the heart and arteries. Potassium, in contrast, often falls short in the diet, particularly when processed foods replace fresh fruits and vegetables. This imbalance, high sodium, low potassium, is one of the quiet imbalances of modern nutrition, contributing subtly to fatigue, tension, and cardiovascular strain. Yet the solution is simple: the inclusion of foods rich in potassium, such as bananas, avocados, beans, spinach, and potatoes, restores the natural equilibrium that evolution designed. The symptoms of deficiency or excess in these minerals are reminders of their power. When sodium levels drop too low, a condition known as hyponatremia, water seeps into cells, causing swelling. In the brain, this can lead to headache, confusion, and in severe cases, seizures. Too much sodium, or hypernatremia, has the opposite effect, drawing water out of cells and leaving tissues dehydrated. Potassium deficiency, or hypokalemia, weakens muscles, disrupts the heartbeat, and causes fatigue, while excess potassium, hyperkalemia, can slow the heart to a dangerous rhythm. Chloride imbalances mirror those of sodium, disturbing acid-base balance and fluid stability. The body guards against these extremes through its intricate network of feedback systems, yet even small deviations can remind us of how closely life depends on the steady movement of these invisible elements. In every heartbeat, the importance of this trio is revealed. When the heart's pacemaker cells fire, sodium floods inward, potassium flows outward, and the muscle fibers contract in a wave that propels blood through the arteries. In the moment that follows, the ions switch places again, restoring the resting potential and preparing for the next beat. This cycle repeats thousands of times each day, unceasingly, without awareness. It is the music of electrolytes, a rhythm as steady as the tides, as constant as breathing. The same principles guide the motion of the intestines, the focus of the eyes, the thought within the brain. Every impulse, every gesture, every word spoken begins with the movement of sodium, potassium, and chloride across microscopic membranes. Though their chemistry is simple, their significance is profound. These ions remind us that the human body is, at its core, an electrical organism, a vessel of currents and charges sustained by minerals drawn from the earth. They link us to the sea from which all life emerged, for the fluid that bathes our cells bears the same elemental composition as the ancient oceans. When we sweat, we taste salt upon our skin, a trace of that primordial water still circulating within us. To replenish these elements is not merely to feed the body, but to restore its connection to that origin. At rest, when the body drifts towards sleep, the work of sodium, potassium, and chloride continues unbroken. The heart maintains its rhythm, the nerves preserve their readiness, and the kidneys adjust the composition of the blood with quiet precision. Within every cell, pumps continue to exchange ions, sustaining the voltage that holds the possibility of movement and thought. Even in dreams, the body's electrical symphony plays on, guided by this invisible trio of minerals. To reflect on sodium, potassium, and chloride is to recognize the elegance of balance. Too little, and the spark of life dims. Too much, and the system falters. Yet within the narrow window of equilibrium lies vitality, a state where energy flows freely, neither restrained nor uncontrolled. These three ions, circulating silently within us, ensure that the rhythm of the body never ceases. They are the keepers of motion and calm, of tension and release, of every beat, breath, and thought. And though they pass unnoticed, their harmony sustains the electric song of life itself, a music that hums gently through our veins, connecting us to the deep and ancient sea from which we once arose. 11. Iron, the silent carrier of life. Deep within every heartbeat lies a quiet miracle, a tiny molecule carrying the breath of life from one cell to another. This miracle is made possible by iron, the element of vitality, the metal that gives blood its color, and the body its endurance. Though it exists in the body in only small amounts, its influence reaches everywhere. Iron is the link between the air we breathe and the energy that sustains us. Without it, oxygen could not travel from the lungs to the tissues. Without it, cells would be unable to generate the power that drives motion, thought, and renewal. It is a mineral that embodies both strength and fragility, both the stability of metal and the delicate precision of living chemistry. Iron's story begins not in the body, but in the stars. Long ago, before life existed, massive stars forged iron in their fiery cores and scattered it into the cosmos when they exploded. Over eons, that cosmic dust fell to Earth and became part of the soil, the rocks, and eventually, the living organisms that emerged. Every atom of iron in your blood, every molecule in your muscles, carries that ancient signature of the stars. It is fitting, then, that iron's greatest role is to carry the essence of life itself, oxygen throughout the body. In this sense, each breath is an echo of the universe's earliest fires, an act of cosmic continuity flowing through your veins. In the human body, most iron resides in hemoglobin, the protein within red blood cells that binds and transports oxygen. Each molecule of hemoglobin contains 4 iron atoms, and each iron atom can hold 1 molecule of oxygen. As blood passes through the lungs, oxygen molecules attach to the iron within hemoglobin, turning the blood a vivid scarlet. When the blood reaches tissues in need of energy, the oxygen is released, and the blood darkens to a deeper hue. This rhythmic cycle, the binding and release of oxygen, is what allows life to persist moment by moment. Every breath, every heartbeat, is synchronized with this silent exchange between air and iron. Beyond hemoglobin, iron is also found in myoglobin, a related protein that stores oxygen in muscle tissue. Myoglobin ensures that muscles receive a steady supply of oxygen during movement, allowing them to work efficiently and resist fatigue. This is why meat appears red. It is rich in myoglobin, the pigment that, like hemoglobin, owes its color to iron. Yet iron's role extends far beyond oxygen transport. It is a cofactor in numerous enzymes involved in energy production, DNA synthesis, and the detoxification of harmful substances. It helps mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses of cells, convert nutrients into usable energy, making it indispensable to every living process. The balance of iron within the body is maintained with extraordinary care. Unlike many other nutrients, iron cannot be excreted easily. The body regulates it primarily by controlling absorption in the intestines. When iron stores are low, absorption increases. When stores are sufficient, absorption slows. This regulation depends on a hormone called hepcidin, produced by the liver, which acts as the gatekeeper for iron entry into the bloodstream. Through this subtle mechanism, the body avoids both deficiency and overload, striving always for equilibrium. Yet imbalance can occur, and when it does, the effects are profound. Iron deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency in the world, affecting millions of people across all ages. It often develops slowly, beginning with the depletion of iron stores in the liver and bone marrow. As the shortage deepens, hemoglobin production falls, and the blood's capacity to carry oxygen diminishes. The body begins to adapt in small ways. The heart beats faster to deliver more oxygen, the skin grows pale, fatigue sets in, and concentration wanes. This condition, known as iron deficiency anemia, is a state of quiet exhaustion. Tasks that once felt effortless become heavy, as though gravity itself had increased. In children, it can hinder growth and learning. In adults, it drains strength and endurance. Yet with replenishment, recovery is swift. The body eagerly takes up the missing iron, restores hemoglobin, and renews the flow of oxygen, a reminder of its capacity to heal when balance is restored. At the other extreme lies iron overload, a condition far rarer, but equally instructive. When the body accumulates too much iron, either from genetic disorders, such as hemochromatosis, or from excessive supplementation, the same metal that sustains life can begin to harm it. Excess iron promotes the formation of free radicals, damaging cells, especially in the liver, heart, and pancreas. The body, unable to excrete the surplus, slowly accumulates it over years, leading to organ dysfunction. It is a quiet paradox that the same element, which gives vitality in moderation, can bring decline in excess. Nature's lesson remains the same. Strength is sustained only through balance. Diet provides iron in two primary forms, heme and non-heme. Heme iron, found in animal sources such as meat, poultry, and fish, is readily absorbed. Non-heme iron, found in plant-based foods such as beans, lentils, grains, nuts, and leafy greens, is less easily absorbed, but equally valuable when paired with vitamin C, which enhances its uptake. This partnership between nutrients reflects the larger pattern of cooperation within the body's chemistry. The orange eaten alongside spinach, the lemon drizzled on lentils, the combination of grains and legumes. These are ancient culinary traditions that mirror the wisdom of biology itself. The distribution of iron throughout the body is a model of efficiency. Old red blood cells, after about 4 months of service, are broken down in the spleen and liver, and their iron is reclaimed and recycled to make new cells. Almost no atom is wasted. Nearly all the iron in your body has been used before, perhaps hundreds of times, in cycles of birth and renewal. This constant recycling ensures that even with modest dietary intake, the body maintains its supply. It is a closed loop, a quiet economy of matter where nothing is lost, only transformed. Iron's role in the blood gives it a symbolic weight beyond physiology. It has long been associated with vitality, resilience, and warmth, the strength of warriors, the endurance of laborers, the vigor of youth. The redness of blood has inspired countless metaphors for courage and life itself. Yet beneath these associations lies the simple truth that iron's strength is not its own. It is borrowed from the earth and given meaning through motion. In every heartbeat, this metal forged in ancient stars circulates through living flesh, linking the mineral world to the breath of life. Deficiency in iron does more than weaken the body. It dims the mind. The brain is a high consumer of oxygen, and when hemoglobin levels fall, mental clarity often fades. Focus becomes harder to maintain. Mood may decline, and dreams grow shallow. As oxygen supply returns with restored iron levels, so too does mental brightness, a return of alertness and calm energy. In this way, iron governs not only the body's physical endurance, but also its clarity of thought. Even at rest, when the body lies still in the quiet of night, iron continues its silent work. In the lungs, it binds oxygen to the hemoglobin newly formed in the marrow. In the cells, it assists enzymes that convert nutrients into the energy needed for repair. It moves through cycles of oxidation and reduction, giving and receiving electrons, participating in the endless dance of metabolism. The heart, guided by that same rhythm, sends this iron-bearing blood through arteries and veins, ensuring that every cell receives its share of the life-giving breath. To reflect on iron is to recognize the poetry of biology, the fusion of earth and air, of metal and motion. It is the reminder that within every human being flows a trace of the planet's oldest element, shaped into purpose by evolution and sustained by the simple act of breathing. Iron does not speak, yet it tells the story of connection between the cosmos and the cell, between the inanimate and the living. It is the silent carrier of life, the crimson thread that ties all creatures to the stars from which they were born. And as you rest, your blood continues to move, your cells continue to breathe, and iron, steady, tireless, eternal, carries the spark of existence through the quiet rivers of your body. 12. Zinc, copper, and selenium, the catalysts of enzyme activity. In the unseen architecture of the body, where millions of biochemical reactions occur every second, there exist certain elements that act not as builders or carriers, but as sparks, tiny catalysts that set life's chemistry in motion. Among these are zinc, copper, and selenium, trace minerals so small in quantity that they might seem insignificant. Yet without them, the body's enzymes would falter, its defenses would weaken, and its harmony would begin to fade. They are the quiet activators of life's processes, the subtle conductors that ensure every note of the biological symphony sounds in tune. These minerals, though measured in milligrams or micrograms, possess a power far greater than their size, suggest the power to sustain equilibrium, resilience, and renewal. Zinc is perhaps the most versatile of the three. It is present in every cell of the human body and participates in over 300 enzymatic reactions. Its influence stretches from the growth of tissues to the repair of DNA, from immune defense to the perception of taste and smell. Zinc is the element of restoration wherever renewal or regeneration is required. Zinc is there. In wounds, it facilitates the production of new cells. In the skin, it supports keratin formation and protects against inflammation. In the brain, it contributes to neurotransmission, shaping thought and memory. It even plays a role in gene expression, binding to proteins that regulate which genes are turned on or off, guiding the cell's destiny with gentle precision. The sources of zinc are as humble as its presence is essential. Meat, seafood, whole grains, nuts, and legumes all provide this mineral in abundance, though its absorption can vary depending on the form. Animal sources, such as oysters and beef, offer zinc in a readily available form, while plant sources contain phytates, natural compounds that can bind zinc and reduce its absorption. Yet the body, adaptable as always, compensates through efficiency. It increases absorption when stores are low, ensuring that every bit of zinc taken in is used to maintain balance. This adaptability speaks to the deep intelligence of the body's mineral economy, a system of continual negotiation between scarcity and sufficiency. Deficiency in zinc can manifest in subtle ways, often unnoticed until it becomes pronounced. Growth slows, wounds heal more slowly, and the sense of taste dulls. The immune system becomes less responsive, and the skin may develop rough patches or small sores that resist healing. In children, zinc deficiency can affect development. In adults, it can impair fertility and vitality. Yet, like many deficiencies, it can be reversed with nourishment. Once zinc returns, the body resumes its rhythm of repair, and the quiet machinery of enzymes begins to turn smoothly again. If zinc is the element of repair, copper is its companion and complement the element of balance and connection. While zinc tends to accumulate in the cytoplasm, copper often resides within enzymes that control oxidation and energy transfer. It gives color to life, the red of blood, the brown of hair, the golden hue of healthy skin. This is not poetic exaggeration but biochemical truth, for copper is part of enzymes that produce melanin, the pigment that colors hair and skin. It also assists in forming connective tissue, strengthening the walls of arteries, and maintaining the elasticity of the lungs and skin. Without copper, these tissues lose their resilience, becoming weak and fragile, unable to bear the subtle strains of motion and time. One of copper's most vital roles lies in its partnership with iron. It is copper that enables the conversion of iron into the form needed for hemoglobin synthesis, allowing the red blood cells to carry oxygen efficiently. In this sense, copper is the unseen ally of iron, the silent supporter, ensuring that oxygen's journey continues without interruption. Copper also forms part of enzymes that defend against oxidative stress, such as superoxide dismutase, which neutralizes free radicals before they can damage cells. In the heart and brain, these enzymes protect the delicate membranes that sustain function and thought, ensuring the endurance of the body's most vital organs. The sources of copper are rich and varied. Whole grains, seeds, nuts, shellfish, and dark leafy vegetables all provide this mineral in natural balance. Deficiency, though rare, can appear when absorption is hindered or when zinc intake is excessive, for the two minerals compete for similar pathways in the body. Too much of one can lead to too little of the other, disrupting the balance that both are meant to maintain. When copper falls too low, anemia may appear despite adequate iron, and the hair may lose its color or luster. Yet as soon as balance is restored, the natural hues of vitality return. Where zinc and copper govern structure and function, selenium governs protection. It is the element of defense, the guardian of the cell's integrity. Selenium forms part of antioxidant enzymes such as glutathione peroxidase, which shield the body from the oxidative damage that accompanies metabolism and exposure to the environment. Within each cell, as oxygen is used to create energy, reactive byproducts are produced unstable molecules capable of harming DNA, proteins, and membranes. Selenium's enzymes neutralize these threats, turning potential harm into harmless water and preserving the body's inner harmony. Selenium's influence reaches even deeper, touching the thyroid gland, where it assists in the conversion of thyroid hormones to their active form. These hormones control the pace of metabolism, how quickly energy is produced and used, meaning that selenium indirectly shapes every process in the body, from temperature regulation to growth. It also supports immune function, helping cells respond appropriately to infection without overreacting. In this way, selenium acts as a moderator, ensuring that the body's defenses remain balanced and precise. The sources of selenium vary with geography, for its content in food depends on the soil in which plants are grown. In some regions, soils are rich in selenium, and grains, vegetables, and livestock absorb it naturally. In others, where the soil is depleted, deficiency can occur, leading to conditions that affect the heart or immune system. Brazil nuts are among the richest known sources, containing enough selenium in a single nut to meet daily needs. Other sources include fish, eggs, and whole grains, each carrying a trace of the earth's mineral wisdom. When considered together, zinc, copper, and selenium reveal a profound pattern. They do not act alone, but in harmony. Zinc and copper form opposing yet complementary forces. Zinc stabilizes and builds, while copper mobilizes and connects. Selenium stands between them as the protector, ensuring that their activities do not lead to imbalance or oxidative harm. They are like the elements of a delicate equation, the builders, the binders, and the guardians, maintaining the flow of energy and matter within the living form. When any one of them is missing or excessive, the equilibrium falters, and the body must labor to restore it. Excess of these trace minerals, though less common than deficiency, can also bring imbalance. Too much zinc may suppress copper absorption. Too much selenium may lead to brittleness of nails and hair, or fatigue. The body, sensitive to even small deviations, responds with signals of discomfort long before danger becomes severe. In these signals lies the body's quiet intelligence, its way of calling for the return of balance. The beauty of these minerals lies in their subtlety. They do not build the bones or pump the heart. They do not carry oxygen or store energy. Instead, they enable everything else to happen. They are the cofactors that allow enzymes to bind, react, and release, transforming nutrients into life itself. Without them, the machinery of metabolism would grind to a halt, and the brilliance of life's chemistry would fade into stillness. At rest, When the body sleeps, zinc, copper, and selenium continue their invisible work. Zinc aids the renewal of skin and tissue. Copper supports the repair of connective fibers and the balance of iron. Selenium guards the cell's mitochondria, preventing the quiet erosion of time. These processes unfold in silence, beneath consciousness, ensuring that by morning, the body awakens whole and restored. The enzymes, like faithful artisans, never cease their craft, guided by these tiny elemental sparks. To contemplate zinc, copper, and selenium is to marvel at the perfection of life's design, that such minute particles can sustain the vast complexity of existence. They remind us that strength does not always come from size or abundance, but from precision and harmony. Within their chemistry lies a lesson as old as the earth itself, that balance, not power, sustains the living world. And as you rest, these three trace elements continue their timeless labor, aligning the inner currents of your body with the quiet order of nature, keeping the fire of life steady, the structure, sound, and the harmony of being unbroken. 13. Iodine and fluoride, the minor but mighty micronutrients. In the vast constellation of nutrients that sustain human life, some shine brightly, their functions well known and easily seen, while others dwell quietly in the background, their influence subtle yet essential. Iodine and fluoride belong to this quieter realm. They are trace elements, needed only in the smallest quantities, yet their absence can ripple across the entire body, altering growth, energy, and even the strength of bones and teeth. They are the understated guardians of regulation and resilience. Iodine, governing the rhythm of metabolism through the thyroid, and fluoride, fortifying the mineral structure that forms the foundation of our physical being. They remind us that sometimes it is the smallest presences that create the greatest stability. Iodine's story begins in the depths of the sea, for it is an element born of the ocean. Waves and tides have long carried it through the air as vapor, allowing coastal soils and plants to absorb it naturally, while inland regions, distant from the sea, often remain deficient. This geographical unevenness has shaped the course of human health throughout history. In areas where iodine was scarce, people developed goiter, an enlargement of the thyroid gland that bulged visibly from the neck. The ancient Chinese, Egyptians, and Greeks all recorded this condition, unaware that its cause lay not in disease, but in the lack of a simple mineral. It was not until the early 20th century that scientists understood iodine's role in the body and began fortifying salt with it, a quiet act of public health that prevented untold suffering. Within the human body, iodine's role centers on the thyroid gland, a small, butterfly-shaped organ nestled in the throat. This gland produces hormones that control the body's metabolism, the rate at which energy is produced and used. The primary hormones, thyroxine, T4, and triiodothyronine, T3, are built directly from iodine. Without this element, the thyroid cannot produce its hormones, and the body's metabolism slows, leading to fatigue, weight gain, cold intolerance, and mental sluggishness. In children, deficiency can stunt growth and impair cognitive development, a reminder of how vital this mineral is to life's unfolding. Conversely, when iodine intake is excessive, the thyroid can become overactive, producing too much hormone and leading to restlessness, rapid heartbeat, and weight loss. Thus, iodine's role is one of balance, a precise equilibrium that allows energy to flow smoothly through every cell. The thyroid's influence extends beyond metabolism. Its hormones affect virtually every tissue in the body, guiding development, regulating temperature, and ensuring that organs function in synchrony. In the developing fetus, they are indispensable, shaping the formation of the brain and nervous system. A deficiency in the mother during pregnancy can lead to cretinism, a condition marked by severe developmental delays and impaired growth. For this reason, Adequate iodine intake, though required in minuscule amounts, becomes one of the most critical determinants of lifelong health. The body's total iodine content is less than 30 milligrams, barely enough to fill a small grain of sand, and yet from that microscopic reserve, the entire metabolic rhythm of the body is maintained. Natural sources of iodine are found most abundantly in the sea. Fish, shellfish, and seaweed concentrate it directly from seawater. Iodized salt remains the most accessible and reliable source, ensuring that even those far from the ocean can receive the trace amounts necessary for health. The body does not hoard iodine in large reserves. The thyroid stores enough to last only a few weeks, relying on continuous replenishment through diet. In this dependence, the human body echoes its connection to the sea, a reminder that though we live on land, the chemistry of our cells still whispers of the ocean's ancient influence. Fluoride, like iodine, is another mineral that works in quiet partnership with the body's natural systems. Where iodine shapes energy and regulation, fluoride fortifies the structure of the body itself. Its story, too, begins with observation. In this case, the observation that certain communities with naturally fluoridated water had fewer cavities and stronger teeth. Scientists in the early 20th century discovered that fluoride, present in trace amounts, could integrate into the mineral structure of enamel, forming a compound more resistant to decay. This discovery transformed the understanding of dental health and led to one of the simplest and most effective public health measures in history: the fluoridation of drinking water. Within the human body, fluoride's function is largely structural. It becomes part of the crystalline lattice of hydroxyapatite, the mineral that forms teeth and bones. When fluoride replaces a small portion of the hydroxyl groups in hydroxyapatite, the resulting compound, fluoroapatite, is more stable and less soluble in acid. This means that the enamel of the teeth becomes harder, more resistant to bacterial acids, and less prone to erosion. Fluoride also helps to remineralize areas of enamel that have begun to weaken, reversing the earliest stages of tooth decay. In bones, it supports the formation of new mineralized tissue, subtly increasing density and strength over time. Fluoride's action, though powerful, operates best in moderation. In small amounts, it strengthens. In excess, it can harden too much. When fluoride intake becomes excessive over many years, a condition known as fluorosis can occur, characterized by faint white specks or streaks on the teeth, and in more severe cases, stiffness in the joints or bone thickening. Yet within its safe range, an amount measured in fractions of a milligram per day, fluoride performs its protective duties without harm. It is a quiet example of nature's principle, that the right dose makes the difference between benefit and burden. The sources of fluoride, like those of iodine, reflect the diversity of the earth. It is found naturally in water, varying with the mineral composition of the soil and rock beneath. Tea plants, which absorb fluoride from the soil, can also provide it through the brood leaves. In many countries, fluoride is added not only to water but to toothpaste and mouth rinses, ensuring local protection at the very site of need. In this way, fluoride works both systemically and topically, strengthening teeth from within and guarding them from without. Together, iodine and fluoride form a quiet partnership between motion and structure, between regulation and reinforcement. One sustains the body's tempo, ensuring that energy flows with consistency. The other fortifies its framework, ensuring that strength endures. Both are needed in only trace amounts, and both illustrate a profound truth about the body, that vitality depends as much on subtlety as on abundance. They are the punctuation marks in the language of nutrition, small but essential, giving order and meaning to the larger symphony of the body's chemistry. The consequences of their absence or excess remind us of the delicacy of this balance. Iodine deficiency slows the rhythm of metabolism and dulls the flame of energy, while its excess accelerates the pulse. Fluoride deficiency weakens the mineral fabric of teeth, inviting decay, while too much clouds the brightness of enamel. In each case, the path to health lies in the middle, the precise measure that allows each element to play its part without overstepping its role. The body, ever attuned to equilibrium, flourishes only when the smallest parts are in harmony. As you rest, the work of these elements continues unseen. In the thyroid, iodine ensures that hormones are released in just the right measure, keeping the body's metabolism steady even in sleep. In the bones and teeth, fluoride remains embedded in the crystalline structure, guarding against the slow erosion of time. Neither seeks attention, neither acts with force, and yet their influence pervades every moment of life. They embody the grace of restraint, the quiet mastery of doing only what is necessary, no more, no less. To reflect on iodine and fluoride is to see the beauty of precision in nature's design. They are reminders that the grand machinery of life is built not only from abundance but from exactness, from the measured inclusion of elements so rare they might be overlooked entirely. Within their chemistry lies a lesson about balance, one that applies not only to the body but to the broader rhythm of existence. Strength and energy, structure and flow depend upon one another, each requiring the other's gentle moderation. And so, while you sleep, these two unseen allies, one from the sea, one from the stone, continue their patient work, sustaining the harmony of metabolism and the endurance of form, preserving the quiet miracle of life itself. 14. The trace elements of harmony: manganese, chromium, and molybdenum. In the deep silence of the body's chemistry, where enzymes hum softly and reactions unfold in perfect sequence, there exists a family of elements so small, so delicate in quantity, that their presence is measured in mere whispers, micrograms scattered among trillions of cells. These are the trace elements that complete the orchestra of nutrition. Manganese, chromium. They are not builders like calcium, nor carriers like iron. They are regulators, catalysts, and fine-tuners. They ensure that the grand machinery of metabolism runs smoothly, that energy is released at the right pace, and that the waste of life's chemistry is safely cleared away. Though they make up less than 1,000th of the body's mass, they hold within them the balance of countless reactions, guiding the alchemy of life with precision too subtle for sight. Manganese, named after the Greek word for magic, indeed performs something close to it within the body. It activates enzymes that govern metabolism, the conversion of nutrients into energy, the synthesis of cartilage and bone, and the defense against oxidative stress. Within each cell, manganese quietly assists enzymes called superoxide dismutases, which neutralize free radicals and protect the delicate membranes from harm. In the joints, it helps form collagen, the protein that gives tendons and cartilage their elasticity. In the bones, it contributes to mineralization, ensuring that strength and flexibility coexist. Without it, the body's structural harmony would gradually erode. With it, tissues remain supple, resilient, and capable of repair. Manganese is found abundantly in nature, particularly in whole grains, nuts, seeds, and leafy vegetables. The earth seems to scatter it generously wherever plant life thrives, as though to ensure that those who eat close to the soil receive its gift. The human body requires only a trace, scarcely more than 2 or 3 milligrams a day, yet its absence can echo through multiple systems. Deficiency, though rare, can lead to bone weakness, impaired growth, and poor glucose tolerance. The nervous system, too, depends on manganese for the synthesis of neurotransmitters, and when it is lacking, subtle changes in coordination or mood can arise. But in excess, manganese can also be disruptive, particularly when inhaled as dust in industrial settings, affecting motor control and balance. The body's wisdom lies, as always, in moderation, in the precise maintenance of enough but not too much. If manganese governs the building and protection of structure, chromium concerns itself with energy and transformation. It is the element that refines the body's use of glucose, the primary fuel of life. Though required in vanishingly small amounts, chromium assists the action of insulin, the hormone that allows sugar to enter cells and be used for energy. Without adequate chromium, the efficiency of insulin declines, and blood sugar may rise even when the body produces sufficient hormone. In this sense, chromium acts as a key to the lock, not forcing the door open, but ensuring it moves smoothly on its hinges. It enhances sensitivity to insulin, allowing the flow of energy from blood to cell to proceed without resistance. The role of chromium, though subtle, is vital in maintaining steady energy levels and metabolic balance. In the modern world, where refined foods dominate and natural sources of minerals are often stripped away, chromium intake can fall short. The early stages of deficiency may pass unnoticed, a little more fatigue, perhaps, or difficulty maintaining stable blood sugar, but over time, the body's equilibrium begins to waver. Chromium's presence brings quiet steadiness, a balance between hunger and satiety, effort and rest, storage and release. It reminds us that energy is not merely produced, must also be guided and regulated. Natural sources of chromium include whole grains, nuts, legumes, and vegetables such as broccoli and green beans. It is also found in small amounts in meats and some fruits. Its absorption, however, is influenced by other nutrients. Vitamin C can enhance it, while high intakes of refined sugar can deplete it. The relationship between chromium and sugar is particularly poetic, for the element that governs glucose metabolism is also most endangered by the overconsumption of sweetness. Nature, it seems, provides both the key and the warning within the same pattern. Molybdenum, the last of this triad, works deep in the shadows of metabolism, performing tasks that are vital but invisible. It serves as a cofactor for enzymes that detoxify harmful compounds and process nitrogen-containing substances. Without molybdenum, these enzymes would lie dormant, and toxic byproducts such as sulfites or purines could accumulate. In this way, molybdenum acts as the body's quiet purifier, ensuring that what is no longer needed is safely transformed and excreted. It participates in the conversion of sulfite to sulfate, allowing sulfur-containing amino acids to be used without harm, and in the breakdown of uric acid, preventing the buildup of crystals that can inflame the joints. Though the body requires only trace amounts of molybdenum, mere micrograms per day, its contribution is indispensable. Deficiency is exceedingly rare, yet its absence reveals its quiet importance. When molybdenum-dependent enzymes falter, metabolic waste begins to accumulate, and cells lose their balance. In food, molybdenum is found in abundance wherever life grows from the soil. In lentils, beans, peas, and whole grains. Like many minerals, its availability depends on the earth itself. Soils rich in molybdenum yield crops that carry it naturally, while depleted soils can give rise to deficiency. The element reminds us that human health and the health of the land are inseparable. One mirrors the other, bound by cycles of nourishment and return. Manganese, chromium, and molybdenum share a kinship not only in chemistry but in philosophy. Each works quietly, without the need for prominence. They do not build or transport or signal loudly. They fine-tune. They make the difference between adequate function and graceful efficiency, between survival and vitality. Their influence lies in their precision, not their power. It is the same with many forces in nature. The most profound changes are made not by storms, but by the gentle persistence of balance. Deficiency in these trace elements, while uncommon, often arises not from scarcity of food, but from disconnection from the earth's natural abundance. Refined diets, stripped of the mineral-rich outer layers of grains, rob the body of manganese and chromium. Soils, depleted by overuse, yield crops less dense in molybdenum. The human body, evolved to thrive on the variety and wholeness of natural foods, finds itself longing for the subtle minerals that modern processing has diminished. Yet restoration remains simple, a return to foods that grow close to the soil, that carry within them the quiet chemistry of life's origins. At the same time, excess intake of these trace minerals through supplements can disturb the body's equilibrium. Too much chromium can disrupt iron metabolism. Too much manganese can affect neurological function. Excessive molybdenum can alter copper balance. The line between nourishment and burden is fine, and the wisdom of nature lies in providing these elements in balance with one another. When consumed through whole foods, they arrive in perfect proportion, accompanied by the vitamins and fibers that guide their use. When taken in isolation, their harmony can be lost. Thus, the true lesson of these trace elements is not only their necessity, but their interdependence, the quiet reminder that health is never the result of one part alone. As the body rests, these elements continue their intricate work. Manganese guards the enzymes that mend tissue. Chromium ensures that blood sugar remains steady through the night. Molybdenum quietly detoxifies the byproducts of metabolism, clearing the way for renewal. In their stillness, they embody the essence of balance, not forceful, not dramatic, but continuous and precise. The night becomes their time of greatest activity, for it is in stillness that maintenance occurs, when the body repairs the small imperfections of the day. To reflect on manganese, chromium, and molybdenum is to appreciate the subtle artistry of the human body. They are the finishing touches of nature's design, the invisible threads that bind the whole together. Without them, life would continue, but imperfectly slower, less resilient, less harmonious. With them, every process aligns more precisely, every motion flows more smoothly. They are the quiet whisper of order amid the ceaseless motion of metabolism, ensuring that the spark of life burns evenly and enduringly. And so, even as you drift into sleep, these trace elements persist in their invisible labor. They ask for nothing, they draw no attention, yet their devotion is tireless. They sustain the smooth rhythm of energy, the cleanliness of the blood, and the serenity of rest. They are, in their humility, the perfect symbols of harmony, proof that life's beauty lies not in abundance or grandeur, but in the delicate precision of the smallest parts working silently together for the wholeness of being. 15. The interconnected symphony of nutrients, balance, absorption, and renewal. When we reach the heart of understanding human nutrition, it becomes clear that no vitamin or mineral exists in isolation. Each one, no matter how distinct in its chemical identity, plays a part in an interconnected web, a living symphony of balance and exchange that sustains the rhythm of life. Calcium depends on vitamin D to be absorbed. Vitamin C restores vitamin E, so it can continue guarding cell membranes. Zinc and copper dance in delicate opposition, each keeping the other in check. Even water, the simplest of all substances, becomes the silent stage upon which these elements move and react. Together, they form a masterpiece of harmony, a quiet, ceaseless conversation among the body's countless systems, ensuring that energy flows, tissues renew, and the delicate equilibrium of life endures. Absorption is where this intricate harmony begins. The human digestive system, though it appears to be a simple passage from mouth to stomach, is in truth an intelligent gatekeeper. It selects, refines, and prioritizes what enters the bloodstream. When food arrives, stomach acids awaken dormant minerals, releasing them from their bonds within grains or fibers. Enzymes unfold the complex structures of proteins, exposing amino acids that help carry metals like iron or zinc across the intestinal lining. Fats dissolve the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, allowing them to slip through membranes that water alone could never cross. Within this microscopic theater, cooperation abounds. One nutrient enhancing the absorption of another, one guarding against the excess of its neighbor. It is a dialogue of precision, as old as life itself. Consider iron, which carries oxygen through the blood. On its own, plant-derived iron is less easily absorbed. Locked within a chemical form the body finds stubborn. Yet when accompanied by vitamin C, the iron changes form, becoming more soluble, more willing to enter the bloodstream. This partnership between an element and a vitamin demonstrates the genius of nature's design. That foods are meant to be eaten in variety, that no single nutrient can act alone. In the same way, calcium requires vitamin D to pass through the intestinal wall, while magnesium ensures that calcium does not harden where it should not in soft tissues or arteries. Zinc's absorption is enhanced by proteins, but too much zinc suppresses copper. Too much phosphorus drains calcium. These interdependencies weave through every meal, every breath, every beat of the heart, forming an unbroken pattern of exchange. Balance, then, is the guiding principle of nutrition. It is not achieved through abundance, but through proportion, the right amount of each component, working in measured collaboration. The human body, elegant in its complexity, maintains this balance through constant feedback loops. When calcium levels rise, hormones reduce its release from bone. When sodium increases, the kidneys adjust water retention to restore equilibrium. Even the cells themselves contain sensors that monitor mineral concentrations, adjusting transport channels in real time. Every process in the body is self-correcting, responding to the ebb and flow of nutrients as naturally as the tides respond to the pull of the moon. This harmony, however, depends upon the quality of what we consume. Modern life, with its abundance of processed food and depletion of soil nutrients, can unsettle the natural order. Crops grown in mineral-poor soil may carry less magnesium, zinc, or selenium than those of the past. Diets heavy in refined sugars and fats may supply calories but deprive the body of essential trace elements. The result is not always dramatic illness, but a quiet erosion fatigue, poor concentration, subtle inflammation signs that the internal symphony has lost a measure of its tune. Yet the restoration is always possible, for the body is endlessly adaptable. With the return of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and water drawn from pure sources, the balance slowly reawakens. Absorption is influenced not only by what we eat, but by the state of the body itself. Stress, illness, and aging can alter how nutrients are processed. The gut, lined with billions of cells and an equal number of microbial companions, plays a crucial role in this. The microbiome, that unseen world of bacteria living within us, assists in breaking down fibers, releasing short-chain fatty acids that nourish intestinal cells and improve mineral uptake. Some bacteria even synthesize vitamins like K and certain B-complex compounds, offering their bounty to the host they inhabit. This partnership between human and microbe, ancient and intimate, is one of the clearest examples of interdependence in nature. We nourish them, and they, in turn, nourish us. Within the bloodstream, the nutrients continue their collaboration. Iron travels bound to a protein called transferrin, ensuring that it is delivered safely to the bone marrow and never allowed to roam freely, where it could cause harm. Calcium circulates under the careful supervision of hormones that determine where it is needed most. Fat-soluble vitamins ride upon lipoproteins, tiny carriers that deliver them to tissues like gentle couriers. Nothing in the system is left to chance. Every molecule, once absorbed, has a destination, a purpose, and a means of return. When nutrients reach the cells, the cooperation deepens still further. Vitamins act as coenzymes, activating enzymes that perform vital chemical transformations. Minerals serve as the cofactors, the keys that unlock enzyme function. Without zinc, DNA could not be repaired. Without magnesium, ATP, the molecule of energy, could not release its power. Without copper and selenium, the enzymes that defend against oxidation would fall silent, and cells would age before their time. Each nutrient, in this way, becomes a piece of a larger whole, and their harmony sustains the flow of life's chemistry. Even the process of excretion, the body's way of letting go, is guided by this same balance. Excess water-soluble vitamins like C or the B group are released through urine, preventing toxicity. Minerals such as sodium and potassium are continually exchanged and renewed through sweat and kidney function. Fat-soluble vitamins, on the other hand, are stored in the liver and fatty tissues, waiting for moments of need. This balance between storage and release ensures both protection from scarcity and defense against excess. It is an elegant rhythm, neither rigid nor wasteful, perfectly attuned to the cycles of consumption and rest. Renewal is the silent purpose behind all of this. Every cell in the human body is constantly being rebuilt, its components replaced as they wear out. Red blood cells live for about 4 months before surrendering their iron to new generations. Skin renews itself every few weeks. The bones, seemingly eternal, are slowly broken down and rebuilt through the cooperative action of calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D. Even the brain's chemistry, subtle and complex, depends on the steady availability of micronutrients to maintain clarity, memory, and mood. The body is not a static form but a moving river, its molecules forever replaced, its minerals forever circulating. What we eat today becomes the body of tomorrow, the very atoms of thought and motion. This constant renewal offers hope and responsibility alike. It means that health is never a fixed state, but a living process of restoration. Every meal is an opportunity to participate in this process, to feed not just hunger but harmony. A handful of nuts replenishes manganese and magnesium. A glass of milk restores calcium and phosphorus. A leaf of spinach offers iron and folate. A breath of outdoor air strengthens vitamin D through sunlight's quiet gift. Even the simplest acts of nourishment become rituals of connection, linking us to the earth that provides the minerals, the plants that transform them, and the body that we inhabit. At night, while the conscious mind rests, this grand symphony continues its work. Cells absorb, repair, and renew. Enzymes fold and refold, guided by the trace elements that give them strength. Hormones carry messages to maintain the rhythm of metabolism. The nutrients we have taken in throughout the day move silently through their cycles, binding, releasing, transforming. In sleep, the cooperation between vitamins and minerals reaches its most peaceful expression, allowing the body to heal and prepare for the dawn. To reflect on the interconnectedness of nutrients is to see life itself as an act of balance. No single element, no matter how powerful, can sustain the body alone. Health arises from harmony, from the cooperation of many forces working in concert. Just as a symphony depends on every instrument playing its part in tune, within this harmony lies the secret of renewal, that the same elements forming the rocks and rivers of the earth now flow through our veins, enlivened by breath and thought. And as we rest, this grand orchestra of nutrients continues its timeless performance, the music of life, playing quietly, endlessly, beneath the surface of our awareness, steady, complete, and beautifully in tune with the universe itself. 16. The rhythm of deficiency and excess, the body's language of balance. In the intricate design of the human body, health is not a static state, but a dynamic equilibrium, a perpetual movement between nourishment and need, intake and release. Just as the tides rise and fall with the pull of the moon, the body's internal chemistry shifts subtly with what we eat, how we move, how we rest, and even how we think. Every vitamin and mineral exists within this continuum, oscillating gently around its ideal level. When the balance holds, energy flows smoothly, tissues regenerate quietly, and the body hums in its natural rhythm. But when that balance drifts, when a nutrient falls too low or climbs too high, the body begins to speak in signs and whispers, a language of deficiency and excess that reflects its effort to restore harmony. Deficiency is not always sudden. It unfolds gradually, like a dimming of light. The first signals are often soft: a touch, mix of fatigue, a hint of irritability, perhaps a change in skin texture, or the slow fading of appetite. These early signs are the body's way of calling attention to its internal environment. Long before disease takes root, a lack of vitamin C, for instance, may begin as simple weariness or slower healing. But if left unattended, it deepens into scurvy, where tissues lose their cohesion and vitality fades from within. Iron deficiency starts with a whisper of tiredness and pallor, the body quietly diverting oxygen to its most vital organs. Calcium deficiency may hide behind muscle twitches or brittle nails before it ever weakens the bones. Each symptom, however small, is a note in the body's symphony, signaling imbalance in the harmony of nutrients. The causes of deficiency are as varied as life itself. Sometimes they arise from lack of intake, a diet too limited, too processed, or stripped of the diversity that nature intended. Other times they come from within, the inability to absorb nutrients due to illness, stress, or imbalance in the gut's microbiome. There are also moments when the body's needs increase, as in growth, pregnancy, or recovery, and the usual intake is no longer enough. The miracle of the body is its patience. It draws upon its reserves, shifting resources from one tissue to another, making temporary sacrifices in service of the whole. But when the reserves are gone, the signs of deprivation emerge, and yet, even then, the body's goal is never despair but correction. It waits, it signals, it adjusts, hoping for replenishment. Excess, by contrast, often arrives more quietly still, cloaked in the comfort of abundance. We live in an age where plenty is easy to achieve, but balance is not. Too much of one nutrient can crowd out another, creating subtle imbalances that ripple across the body. High doses of vitamin A, once accumulated, may strain the liver. An overabundance of sodium retains water and raises blood pressure. Excess iron can settle in tissues where it does not belong, promoting oxidative stress. Even water, the simplest of elements, can be overconsumed, diluting sodium and leading to a dangerous condition known as hyponatremia. The lesson is gentle yet clear that nourishment and moderation must walk hand in hand, for even the most beneficial elements become burdensome when taken beyond need. The difference between deficiency and excess is often a matter of proportion, not opposition. Both are reflections of imbalance, and both share the same remedy: restoration of harmony. The human body does not crave abundance. It craves equilibrium. The wisdom of nature lies in the balance. It teaches that the same soil, which provides iron, also offers copper to temper its effect, that foods rich in calcium are often accompanied by magnesium and phosphorus to guide its use, that a simple fruit or leaf contains not one nutrient but a constellation of them, each moderating and supporting the others. This interdependence is the foundation of nutritional stability, a balance that processed or isolated substances rarely replicate. In the quiet processes of digestion and absorption, the body displays its mastery of moderation. It absorbs only what it needs, excreting or storing the rest with measured restraint. When vitamin D levels rise, for instance, the intestines reduce calcium absorption, protecting the body from overload. When iron stores are full, the hormone hepcidin slows further absorption from food. The kidneys, ever vigilant, regulate sodium and potassium, preserving the ratio that maintains nerve function and hydration. This self-regulating intelligence, this quiet vigilance, is the essence of biological balance. It is not perfection, but constant correction, a dance of molecules and hormones, guided by an unspoken knowledge of what sustains life. The signs of imbalance are not punishments, they are messages. Fatigue may be the body's request for iron or magnesium. Fragile skin may call for vitamin C or zinc. A restless heart may hint at potassium depletion, while cloudy thoughts may whisper of B vitamin insufficiency. Even cravings, those small urges for sweetness, salt, or specific textures, are part of this dialogue. They are the body's subtle attempts to guide us back toward equilibrium, to remind us of what has been lost or overused. To listen to these signals is to practice the oldest form of medicine, the quiet observation of one's own nature. Yet the restoration of balance does not depend on speed but on gentleness. When nutrients are reintroduced after a deficiency, the body rebuilds slowly, layer by layer, as though remembering how to trust abundance again. Cells repair their membranes, enzymes regain their shape, energy returns to its natural rhythm. The healing process is rarely dramatic. It is instead like the gradual return of light, after dusk, soft, sure, and steady. Each day of nourishment brings a small renewal, and in time, the harmony of metabolism is restored. Just as deficiency and excess reflect physical imbalance, they also mirror the patterns of life itself. Too little rest, too much stress, too little sunlight, or too much haste. These too disturb the internal rhythm. Nutrition cannot be separated from the environment or from emotion. The chemistry of the body is also the chemistry of being. When the mind is tense, digestion slows. When the spirit is weary, absorption falters. The restoration of balance, therefore, extends beyond food alone. It requires stillness, breath, and attention, the willingness to slow down and allow the body's quiet intelligence to resume its work. Modern science, for all its precision, continues to affirm this ancient truth, that health arises from wholeness. No single nutrient, no matter how powerful, can guarantee vitality on its own. Supplements and medicines can aid, but they cannot replace the symphony of interactions that natural foods provide. Arises not from quantity, but from harmony, from the interplay of vitamins and minerals, the cooperation between enzymes and cells, and the alignment between the body and its natural cycles. As the body rests in sleep, the processes of balance continue. Nutrients circulate, hormones adjust, tissues renew, the organs quietly communicate with one another, the liver detoxifying what is no longer needed, the kidneys filtering and redistributing minerals, the bones releasing or absorbing calcium as required. The cells repair themselves, guided by enzymes whose function depends on the trace minerals absorbed from the day's meals. Even the blood, that river of life, adjusts its chemistry hour by hour, ensuring that oxygen, glucose, and electrolytes remain in harmony. In this nightly restoration, deficiency is corrected, excess is eased, and the body awakens once more in quiet balance. To contemplate the rhythm of deficiency and excess is to see the wisdom of moderation not as restriction, but as art, the art of sustaining life in its most graceful form. The body does not demand perfection. It asks only for attention, for nourishment given in balance and respect. When that balance is maintained, energy flows freely, the mind clears, and the quiet hum of life continues unbroken. And so, the story of nutrients ends where it began, in the simple truth that health is harmony, and harmony is life's deepest expression of peace. Even as the world outside moves with its own tides of abundance and want, within the body there remains this steady rhythm, this enduring balance, the language of life itself, written in the soft whisper of chemistry and the eternal patience of the human form. 17. The dance of metabolism, how vitamins and minerals sustain energy. Every movement of life, from the quiet rise of breath to the heartbeat that never rests, is powered by a continuous stream of energy, a flow so constant that even in sleep it never falters. This energy does not come from light or fire, though it shares their essence. It comes from the slow and steady transformation of the food we eat into the fuel that sustains our cells. Within this vast process, vitamins and minerals serve as the invisible conductors, ensuring that every step of metabolism occurs in perfect rhythm. They are not the energy themselves, but the enablers, the catalysts that unlock potential, guiding the transformation of nutrients into the living warmth that moves through every part of the human body. To understand this is to glimpse the deeper meaning of metabolism. It is not merely the burning of calories or the breaking of food into smaller parts, as it is often described in simple terms. It is a vast and intricate web of reactions, all connected, all continuous, converting the raw materials of life, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into usable energy, new tissue, and the subtle molecules that govern emotion, thought, and growth. The process depends entirely on the presence of certain vitamins and minerals. Without them, the machinery slows, reactions falter, and energy dwindles. The flame of vitality, which burns softly and steadily in every cell, requires these micronutrients to keep its glow. Among the most central participants in this process are the B-complex vitamins, often called the energy vitamins. Though they do not provide energy directly, they act as coenzymes, small molecules that attach to enzymes and allow them to function. Each member of the B family plays a distinct but harmonious role. Vitamin B1, or thiamine, helps convert carbohydrates into usable energy, ensuring that glucose, the body's primary fuel, flows smoothly into the cells. Vitamin B2, riboflavin, and B3, niacin, form part of molecules that carry electrons through the energy-producing reactions of the mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses within cells. Vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, assists in forming coenzyme a key connector in the chain of energy metabolism. Vitamin B6, pyridoxine, helps in breaking down amino acids and synthesizing neurotransmitters, shaping not only physical energy but mental clarity. Biotin B7 supports the metabolism of fats and carbohydrates, while folate, B9, and B12 are essential for building DNA and red blood cells, the carriers of oxygen. Together, these vitamins ensure that the conversion of food to energy is seamless, unbroken, and efficient. Minerals, too, play indispensable roles in the dance of metabolism. Magnesium, perhaps the most versatile of all, serves as a cofactor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions. It stabilizes ATP adenosine triphosphate, the molecule that carries energy within cells. Without magnesium, ATP would be unstable and unable to deliver its charge. Iron, found within the red blood cells, ensures that oxygen reaches the tissues where it is needed, while copper aids in the final steps of cellular respiration, allowing electrons to flow smoothly through the chain of energy production. Manganese supports enzymes that process carbohydrates and fats, and zinc aids in the synthesis of proteins that regulate metabolism itself. Even trace elements such as chromium and selenium contribute, fine-tuning the body's ability to use glucose and protecting the machinery from oxidative wear. Each of these nutrients operates within a network of dependencies. Thiamine, for example, works closely with magnesium and manganese, and without their presence, its function weakens. Iron depends on copper for transport. Zinc and selenium collaborate in antioxidant systems that preserve the mitochondria from damage. These relationships form a web of interconnection so complete that no nutrient can perform its work alone. The energy that results, the pulse that keeps the heart beating, the warmth that sustains thought and motion, is not the product of any one element, but of all working together in perfect rhythm. The mitochondria, often called the engines of the cell, are where this energy transformation reaches its peak. Inside these small structures, nutrients undergo a series of reactions collectively known as cellular respiration. Glucose, fats, and amino acids are broken down into smaller components, releasing electrons that move through a chain of proteins embedded in the mitochondrial membrane. This chain, powered by the presence of B vitamins, iron, copper, and other cofactors, drives the creation of ATP, the universal currency of energy. Every heartbeat, every muscle contraction, every impulse of the brain draws from these molecules of ATP, created and spent in endless cycles. When the process flows smoothly, the body feels alert and alive. When it falters from lack of nutrients, oxygen, or rest fatigue settles in, not as weakness but as a whisper from the body asking for restoration. Energy metabolism is not only about movement, it is also about renewal. The same nutrients that allow the body to generate energy also enable it to repair itself. Vitamin C supports the synthesis of collagen, restoring tissues worn by motion. Zinc and magnesium aid in protein synthesis, rebuilding muscle fibers after exertion. The B vitamins help regenerate red blood cells, ensuring the continuous flow of oxygen and nutrients. Even during rest, the energy produced through these processes is never wasted. It is directed toward growth, healing, and the subtle maintenance of balance within. In this way, metabolism becomes not a single process but a circle energy, leading to motion, motion leading to renewal, renewal requiring energy once more. The pace of metabolism, though often spoken of as something fixed or inherited, is in truth highly responsive to life's circumstances. It accelerates with movement, warmth, and nourishment. It slows with stillness, cold, or deprivation. Vitamins and minerals act as regulators in this rhythm. When thyroid hormones, produced with the help of iodine and selenium, increase, metabolism quickens, and the cells burn fuel more rapidly. When their levels fall, energy production slows, and the body conserves its stores. These shifts are not errors but adaptations, the body's way of maintaining balance between consumption and preservation. Even hunger and satiety, the daily signals that govern eating, are guided by this same interplay of nutrients and hormones, a dialogue between the chemistry of the body and the environment it inhabits. The consequences of imbalance in this system are felt deeply. When the body lacks B vitamins, metabolism stumbles. Food is consumed but not fully transformed into usable energy. The result is fatigue, mental fog, and sluggishness, a sense that vitality is somehow slipping away. When magnesium is scarce, muscles cramp and nerves misfire. When iron is deficient, oxygen transport falters and endurance wanes. In contrast, when these nutrients are present in harmony, energy flows effortlessly, and the body feels light, strong, and alert, not overstimulated, but balanced, like a well-tuned instrument resonating at its natural pitch. Even the act of rest depends upon metabolism's continuity. During sleep, the body does not cease its work. It shifts focus from motion to maintenance. The same enzymes that produce energy during the day now use it to repair DNA, clear cellular debris, and replenish energy stores. The mitochondria continue to hum softly, converting nutrients absorbed through the day into the quiet energy that sustains recovery. Vitamins and minerals are not idle in this stillness. They serve as guides, ensuring that every process unfolds in order and that no system is neglected. Magnesium calms the nervous system, helping the body surrender to rest. Zinc and vitamin B6 participate in the production of neurotransmitters that bring dreams. Even as the conscious mind drifts away, the body's chemistry continues its patient labor, preparing for the next dawn. To contemplate metabolism through the lens of vitamins and minerals is to recognize that life is a continuous transformation, a conversion of sunlight and soil into thought, motion, and awareness. The food we eat carries the energy of the earth and the sun, stored in bonds of carbon and hydrogen. Vitamins and minerals, drawn from the same soil and sea, serve as translators, helping that energy flow into the human form. Each breath delivers oxygen to feed the flame. Each heartbeat distributes the warmth it creates, and each moment of stillness allows renewal to begin again. In this eternal cycle, fatigue and vigor, hunger and satisfaction, work and rest are not opposites but partners in a rhythmic dance. The nutrients of the earth sustain the chemistry of the body. The body, in turn, expresses that energy through movement, creation, and thought. To live in balance with this cycle is to live in harmony, neither hoarding energy nor exhausting it, but allowing it to flow, transform, and renew. And when the body finally drifts into the gentle quiet of sleep, the work does not end. Deep within every cell, the vitamins and minerals continue their unseen dance, sustaining the pulse of life, turning food into light, and light into motion, the endless, patient rhythm of existence itself. 18. The healing power of nutrients, repair, regeneration, and cellular renewal. Within the vast, quiet realm of the human body, there exists a ceaseless process of repair, a slow, graceful choreography of renewal that unfolds even when we are unaware of it. Each cell, each tissue, each organ participates in this subtle dance, responding to the constant wear and tear of living. The very act of being alive, breathing, moving, thinking, feeling brings with it a gentle erosion of structure, a steady use of resources that must be restored. The agents of this restoration are the nutrients we draw from the world around us. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and the molecules they help to form. They are the artisans of regeneration, patiently rebuilding the body day after day, ensuring that its form endures even as its matter changes. From the moment of conception to the final breath, the body is in a state of transformation. Cells divide, grow, and eventually give way to new generations, each carrying the same blueprint written in DNA. This continuity is not possible without the raw materials of nutrition. Vitamins provide the instructions and signals that direct cellular repair, while minerals give structure and stability to the materials being formed. Proteins, built from amino acids, serve as the scaffolding of new tissue, and fats form the membranes that hold the essence of life within each cell. Together, they orchestrate the slow miracle of regeneration, maintaining a body that is never the same from one moment to the next, yet always recognizably itself. Among the most essential of these nutrients is vitamin A, long associated with vision, but equally vital for tissue repair. It guides the growth of new cells in the skin, the lining of the lungs, and the digestive tract, the very barriers that separate the body from the external world. When these surfaces are injured, vitamin A directs the differentiation of cells, telling them how to form and where to go. Without it, wounds heal poorly, infections linger, and the body's defenses weaken. In partnership with zinc, another key player in repair, vitamin A ensures that the architecture of regeneration follows the correct pattern, that new tissue grows not only quickly, but well. Vitamin C, too, is central to this restorative process. It is the chief architect of collagen, the protein that provides elasticity and strength to skin, tendons, and blood vessels. Each time a wound closes, or a muscle recovers from strain, vitamin C is there, weaving new collagen fibers into place. It also acts as a protector, shielding the fragile environment of repair from oxidative stress. In its absence, the body loses its cohesion, tissues become weak, gums bleed, and scars fail to form. The sailors of long ago who suffered from scurvy were not simply starving for food, they were starving for the chemistry of renewal. Once fresh fruit returned to their diet, their bodies mended as though awakening from a long sleep, proof of how essential this single molecule is to the restoration of life. Protein, though not a vitamin or mineral, relies deeply on their presence to fulfill its role in repair. The amino acids that form muscles, enzymes, and connective tissues must be assembled with precision, a process guided by vitamins B6 and B12. Along with folate, these nutrients enable the synthesis of new proteins and the replication of DNA, ensuring that cells divide accurately and tissues grow as intended. Minerals such as iron, magnesium, and copper assist in this process as cofactors for enzymes, stabilizing structures and facilitating reactions. The renewal of a muscle after exercise, the healing of skin after a cut, the repair of a broken bone all depend upon this intricate cooperation between protein and micronutrient. Bone repair, perhaps the most enduring form of regeneration, is a masterpiece of mineral and vitamin collaboration. When a bone fractures, the body immediately begins to rebuild it, first forming a soft matrix of collagen, and then infusing it with calcium and phosphorus. Guided by vitamin D, magnesium ensures that the minerals crystallize properly, while vitamin K directs calcium to its rightful place within the bone structure. The process is long and patient, mirroring the steady rhythm of the earth itself, a reminder that the body, like the planet, heals through cycles of formation, reinforcement, and rest. Even in the absence of injury, bone tissue is continuously renewed, with old cells being replaced by new ones, in a cycle that spans years. The skeleton we carry is not a relic of childhood but a living structure, shaped and reshaped throughout life. The skin, ever exposed to the elements, is a site of perpetual renewal. Every few weeks, its outermost layer is shed and replaced, a silent testimony to the body's ability to renew itself. This process depends on a steady supply of nutrients, vitamins A, C, and E, to guide and protect cell growth, zinc and selenium to defend against oxidation, and essential fatty acids to maintain the fluidity of cell membranes. When these nutrients are present, the skin glows with health and resilience. When they are absent, it becomes dry, fragile, and slow to heal. The skin, in this sense, is a mirror of internal balance, reflecting the harmony or strain of the body's invisible chemistry. Even the nervous system, with its delicate network of connections, engages in quiet repair. While nerve cells do not divide easily, they are capable of restoring their protective sheaths and maintaining their function through the help of nutrients like vitamin B12, folate, and omega-3 fatty acids. These substances sustain the integrity of the myelin sheath, the insulating layer that allows nerve signals to travel swiftly and smoothly. When B12 is deficient, the sheath begins to fray, leading to tingling or confusion. But when nourishment returns, the body patiently rebuilds what was lost, as if reweaving the threads of its own consciousness. The slowness of this repair reflects its delicacy, a reminder that even the mind's clarity is grounded in the quiet work of nutrition. The liver, the organ of renewal itself, is a living testament to the body's regenerative power. It is capable of restoring lost tissue to full size even after significant damage. This extraordinary ability depends on a rich supply of vitamins and minerals, particularly the B-complex vitamins, vitamin E, zinc, and selenium. These nutrients support detoxification, repair damaged cells, and protect against oxidative injury. The liver's constant labor filtering blood, neutralizing toxins, producing enzymes requires a constant influx of nourishment. It is not only the body's filter but its alchemist, turning what might be harmful into what can be healed. Sleep is the time when these restorative processes are most active. During the quiet hours of rest, the body diverts energy from motion and thought toward repair. Cells replicate more rapidly, tissues regenerate, and the hormones that guide healing rise to their peak. Growth hormone, in particular, surges during deep sleep, stimulating protein synthesis and the regeneration of muscle and bone. Nutrients taken in during the day are now put to work: vitamin C rebuilding collagen, iron forming new blood cells, magnesium calming the nervous system, and zinc coordinating the repair of DNA. The act of sleep, often mistaken for stillness, is in truth a time of profound reconstruction. When one awakens after deep rest, the sense of renewal that follows is not merely mental but physical, the quiet satisfaction of a body that has rebuilt itself in the night. The balance between damage and repair is one of life's oldest rhythms. Every moment, free radicals are generated by metabolism, tiny sparks of oxidation that can, if unchecked, wear down the tissues of the body. Antioxidant nutrients, vitamins C and E, selenium, zinc, and carotenoids serve as guardians, neutralizing these sparks before they cause harm. They do not stop the fire of life, but they ensure it burns cleanly. Without them, the flame becomes erratic, consuming the very structure it is meant to sustain. With them, the body remains steady, self-renewing, alive. To reflect on this ceaseless renewal is to recognize the grace within biology. Every nutrient we consume is part of this dance of restoration. The fruit that becomes tissue, the mineral that becomes strength, the breath that becomes energy. The body never wastes what it is given. It transforms it, weaving matter into motion and motion into memory. Even as we age, the rhythm continues, slower perhaps, but still purposeful, still exact. Aging itself is not the failure of renewal, but the gradual quieting of it, a soft slowing of the body's music. Yet as long as nourishment continues, repair remains possible, for the body carries within it the memory of balance. As you drift into rest, this silent repair continues unseen. Tiny fractures mend, cells replace their worn parts, the heart's tissues strengthen, the skin renews its glow. It is not a miracle but a natural rhythm, the endless patience of life rebuilding itself. Molecule by molecule, in the gentle dark, the vitamins and minerals you have gathered through food and air and water become instruments of this healing, each performing its part without command, guided by the body's quiet intelligence. In the stillness of night, you are remade, and with the first light of dawn, the work continues, a continuous, sacred act of renewal that sustains the miracle of life itself. 19. The mind-body connection. Nutrients and the chemistry of thought. Within the human body, there exists an extraordinary harmony between the physical and the mental, the seen and the unseen. The same molecules that build bones and muscles also shape mood, perception, and emotion. Every thought, every feeling, every spark of awareness is rooted in chemistry, an intricate web of nutrients, enzymes, and signals that flow between the cells of the brain. Vitamins and minerals are not only the architects of structure and energy, they are also the composers of thought, ensuring that the symphony of the mind plays with clarity, rhythm, and grace. Through their quiet influence, they sustain the delicate balance between calm and focus, memory and creativity, rest and awakening. The brain, though it represents only a small fraction of the body's weight, consumes nearly a quarter of its energy. Each neuron, each synapse, each impulse of awareness demands a continuous supply of nutrients. Oxygen, glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids form the foundation, but it is the presence of vitamins and minerals that allows these materials to be transformed into thought itself. They act as coenzymes in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that carry signals between neurons, and as guardians of the brain's structural integrity. In the absence of these essential nutrients, the mind's clarity begins to dim, memory weakens, and emotion becomes less steady, as though the music of consciousness has lost its rhythm. Among the vitamins most vital to the mind are those of the B complex family. These nutrients, small yet powerful, guide nearly every step of brain metabolism. Thiamine, or vitamin B1, supports the conversion of glucose into energy, without which neurons cannot function. Riboflavin and niacin, vitamins B2 and B3, form the core of molecules that transfer electrons in the brain's energy pathways. Vitamin B6 participates in the synthesis of serotonin and dopamine neurotransmitters that govern mood, motivation, and calmness. Folate and vitamin B12, working together, regulate the formation of myelin, the insulating sheath that protects nerve fibers, and help maintain balanced levels of homocysteine, a compound that, when elevated, can lead to oxidative stress and vascular strain in the brain. These nutrients do not act alone. They form a network of cooperation, each one amplifying the effects of the others, ensuring that the brain's chemistry remains smooth and responsive. Minerals, too, have their place in this vast mental landscape. Magnesium is often called nature's tranquilizer, for it calms the electrical activity of neurons, helping to prevent overstimulation. It moderates the flow of calcium into nerve cells, a process that determines whether a signal will fire or remain silent. When magnesium is low, the brain becomes restless, its circuitry too easily triggered, leading to tension, anxiety, or insomnia. Zinc, another key mineral, participates in neurotransmission and brain development, particularly in areas related to learning and memory. Iron, so essential to oxygen transport, ensures that the brain receives the constant supply of energy it requires. Even trace minerals such as copper, manganese, and selenium play roles in antioxidant defense, protecting the brain from the gradual wear of oxidation. Without them, thought itself begins to slow, like a machine deprived of oil. Fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K also contribute to mental well-being in subtle ways. Vitamin A supports the synthesis of retinoic acid, which influences the growth and differentiation of neurons. Vitamin D acts as both a nutrient and a hormone, affecting the expression of genes that regulate neurotransmitters and inflammation. Its receptors are scattered throughout the brain, particularly in regions linked to mood, such as the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. When vitamin D is low, the mind may sink into fog or melancholy, a gentle dimming of inner light. Vitamin E, with its antioxidant properties, shields delicate neural membranes from damage, while vitamin K participates in the metabolism of sphingolipids, complex fats, that stabilize the structure of brain cells. These vitamins, absorbed and stored through the quiet work of digestion, become the foundation of mental steadiness and clarity. Yet nutrients do more than sustain thought. They shape emotion itself. Serotonin, the molecule of calm and contentment, is synthesized from the amino acid tryptophan, a process that depends on vitamin B6, iron, and magnesium. Dopamine and norepinephrine, the messengers of alertness and focus, arise from tyrosine, their creation guided by copper, vitamin C. When these nutrients are abundant, emotions flow naturally. Sadness and joy, focus and rest, all finding their proper balance. When they are lacking, the emotional spectrum narrows, and the mind struggles to find equilibrium. Nutrition, in this sense, becomes not only the sustenance of the body, but the language of feeling. The brain's architecture also depends on essential fatty acids, particularly omega-3 seconds such as DHA and EPA. These lipids form the very membranes of neurons, allowing flexibility and communication between cells. They ensure that neurotransmitters bind smoothly, that electrical signals pass without friction, A diet lacking in these fats can leave the mind less adaptive, its signaling less fluid. Combined with the supportive presence of minerals and vitamins, these fats create a biochemical harmony that gives rise to mental agility and resilience. The capacity to think clearly, respond calmly, and recover from stress. Antioxidant nutrients, vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, and zinc form a protective shield around the brain, preventing the oxidation that can damage its delicate structures. The brain's high oxygen consumption makes it particularly vulnerable to free radicals, unstable molecules that arise naturally from metabolism. Without protection, these radicals can erode cell membranes and disrupt signaling pathways. Antioxidants neutralize them, preserving clarity and sharpness across the years. In this quiet way, nutrients become the keepers of memory, protecting the past so that it may continue to inform the present. Even water, the simplest of all substances, is essential to the chemistry of thought. Every nerve impulse depends on the movement of sodium, potassium, and chloride ions through a watery medium. When hydration falters, the brain's volume decreases slightly, and concentration wanes. The balance of electrolytes becomes the rhythm of awareness itself. A sip of water, though ordinary, is in truth an act of restoration, allowing the currents of thought to flow freely once more. Deficiency in the nutrients that sustain the mind can express itself in many ways: fatigue, irritability, confusion, or a subtle fading of enthusiasm. The mind becomes less resilient to stress, less capable of joy. In modern times, this often arises not from starvation, but from imbalance, the overabundance of calories, and the poverty of micronutrients. Processed foods may fill the stomach, yet leave the brain undernourished. Restoring balance requires not force, but mindfulness. The gradual return to whole foods, to fruits and grains, and leaves that still carry the living essence of soil and sunlight. When the body is fed with integrity, the mind too begins to brighten, as though awakening from a long, gray dream. The connection between nutrition and emotion also moves in the other direction. Just as nutrients shape the chemistry of mood, mood influences the body's use of nutrients. Chronic stress, for instance, consumes vitamin C and magnesium at a faster rate, while anxiety can disrupt digestion, reducing the absorption of vital minerals. The link between mind and body is thus circular, each one nourishing and reflecting the other. To feed the body is to feed the mind. To calm the mind is to heal the body. This unity is the essence of holistic balance, the understanding that life itself cannot be divided. As sleep descends, the brain's metabolism changes once more. It clears away the byproducts of thought through a gentle wash of cerebrospinal fluid, renewing itself for the coming day. Nutrients play their part even in this nocturnal cleansing: magnesium soothing the nerves, zinc aiding in the regulation of dreams, B vitamins guiding the restoration of neurotransmitters. In the silence of night, chemistry becomes consciousness once more, preparing the mind for the brightness of morning. To reflect on this interplay of nutrients and thought is to see that the mind is not separate from the body, but an expression of it, the flowering of countless microscopic reactions that occur with perfect timing. The clarity of perception, the depth of emotion, the serenity of rest, all depend on the invisible labor of vitamins and minerals working in concert with breath, water, and sunlight. When this balance is maintained, the mind moves freely, effortlessly, attuned to both reason and feeling. Thought becomes a form of harmony, memory, a kind of music, and awareness, the gentle radiance of well-being itself. And so, even as you drift into stillness, your mind continues to hum with quiet life. Nutrients flow through its circuits like musicians tuning their instruments, ensuring that every signal, every pulse, every whisper of consciousness remains in tune. The body rests, but the chemistry of thought endures a soft, rhythmic glow within the darkness, sustained by the endless, tender cooperation of all the elements that make you whole. 20. The eternal cycle, nutrition, longevity, and the harmony of life. There is a quiet rhythm to life that moves through every living being, a cycle that begins with nourishment, continues through growth and repair, and culminates in renewal. From the smallest cell to the vast complexity of the human body, this rhythm is sustained by nutrients, the fundamental gifts of the earth that allow life to endure, adapt, and evolve. In the grand design of existence, vitamins and minerals serve as the translators between the physical and the vital, between matter and motion. They transform what is inert into what is living. They do not act alone, but together they weave a tapestry of balance, resilience, and longevity. To understand this is to see that nutrition is not merely the science of food, but the language of life itself, a dialogue between the body and the world it inhabits. Longevity is not a matter of time alone, but of quality, of how gracefully the body sustains its functions through the years. The human form is not built to resist aging, but to adapt to it, to move through the stages of life with a kind of quiet intelligence. The nutrients we consume become the instruments of this adaptability. They repair, protect, and preserve the delicate structures of the body against the slow wearing of time. Vitamins such as C and E, along with minerals like zinc and selenium, act as guardians of longevity by neutralizing free radicals, the unstable molecules produced during metabolism and exposure to light, air, and stress. These molecules, if left unchecked, damage DNA and weaken cell membranes. Yet, the antioxidants within our diet intercept them gently, turning potential harm into harmlessness, preserving the integrity of the tissues that allow us to see, move, and remember. This process, though invisible, is constant. Every moment of life involves a negotiation between renewal and decay. The cells of the skin, the lining of the gut, the red blood cells in the veins, all have short lives and are continually replaced. Other cells, such as those in the heart or brain, persist for decades, relying on nutrients to maintain their structure and function. In this balance lies the art of longevity. It is not the prevention of change, but the maintenance of harmony within change. Vitamins and minerals serve as the mediators of this harmony, ensuring that the processes of repair keep pace with the quiet march of time. At the center of this lifelong renewal stands the mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cells. These tiny structures generate energy, but in doing so, they also produce byproducts that can slowly erode their own efficiency. Minerals like magnesium and iron, along with vitamins of the B complex, are essential to keeping this energy production both steady and clean. Coenzyme Q10, a nutrient synthesized within the body and supported by others such as selenium, acts as a protector of these mitochondria, ensuring that energy continues to flow smoothly even as the years advance. A steady supply of these nutrients allows the body to remain vibrant and alert, the metabolism to remain efficient, and the mind to remain clear. When they are absent, fatigue takes root, and the flame of vitality begins to flicker. The immune system, too, depends on this nutritional harmony to sustain longevity. It is both guardian and healer, a network of cells that defend against infection and repair the damage that life inevitably brings. Vitamins A, C, and D, along with zinc and copper, are the quiet sentinels of this system. They support the growth of immune cells, enhance communication between them, and maintain the barriers that protect the body from the outside world. When these nutrients are abundant, the immune response is balanced, neither weak nor overzealous. When they are lacking, the body becomes vulnerable to disease or inflammation. In this way, the immune system reflects the broader truth of longevity itself, that health depends not on force but on balance. not on strength alone, but on steadiness. The nervous system, that delicate bridge between thought and motion, is another realm where nutrition reveals its lasting influence. The B vitamins, particularly B12 and folate, maintain the sheaths that insulate nerve fibers, allowing the smooth passage of signals that underlie movement and thought. Vitamin D, in its role as a neuroactive hormone, influences mood and cognition, while omega-3 fatty acids preserve the fluidity of brain cell membranes. Antioxidants protect the neurons from oxidative stress, which otherwise accumulates with age. In harmony, these nutrients slow the decline of mental sharpness, protecting the continuity of awareness and memory. The result is not merely a longer life, but a clearer one, a mind that remains luminous even as time unfolds. But longevity is not simply the sum of physical processes. It is also a state of harmony between the body, the mind, and the world. The foods that nourish us are themselves born of cycles: sunlight feeding plants, minerals drawn from soil, water flowing through roots and veins. When we eat, we are participating in this great exchange. The minerals in our blood once lay in stone. The oxygen in our lungs once belonged to the sky. The glucose that fuels our thoughts was once light captured by leaves. In recognizing this, nutrition becomes more than sustenance, it becomes communion. To eat with mindfulness is to acknowledge the interconnectedness of all living things. And this awareness itself fosters longevity, for it aligns us with the rhythms of nature rather than against them. Modern science has shown what ancient wisdom has long intuited, that the state of the mind profoundly affects the body's chemistry. Chronic stress accelerates the breakdown of cells and depletes nutrients like magnesium, vitamin C, and B-complex vitamins. Prolonged tension alters hormone balance and impairs digestion, reducing nutrient absorption. In contrast, peace, rest, and gratitude restore equilibrium, allowing the body to use its nutrients more efficiently. A calm mind and a nourished body feed each other in a cycle of renewal. The nutrients support the biochemistry of serenity, and serenity, in turn, preserves the biochemistry of life. Hydration and movement also belong to the circle of longevity. Water, carrying minerals such as sodium, potassium, and chloride, keeps the body's electrical and metabolic systems flowing. Every cell, every reaction, every exchange depends upon it. Movement, the rhythmic contraction of muscles, the steady expansion of lungs, ensures that these nutrients reach every corner of the body. Exercise increases circulation, strengthens bones through calcium metabolism, and enhances the sensitivity of cells to insulin, a process dependent on chromium and magnesium. Thus, even motion and rest are partners in the same eternal cycle of renewal. With age, the efficiency of nutrient absorption naturally declines, and the body's reserves may diminish, yet the body remains adaptive, capable of sustaining health with care and attention. Small adjustments, more varied foods, gentle exposure to sunlight, sufficient hydration, and mindful rest can rekindle balance. The body never forgets how to heal. It only requires the conditions to do so. Vitamins and minerals, when provided through natural foods, act as reminders of this capacity, subtle guides that help the body remember its ancient patterns of repair. In the end, longevity is not measured merely by years, but by the grace with which the body continues its dialogue with life. A nourished body does not resist aging, carrying vitality into every stage. Each meal, each breath, each heartbeat is an act of renewal, the continuation of a cycle that began long before birth and will continue long after, in the elements and energies that once composed us. To live in awareness of this is to live in harmony, to recognize that the same nutrients that sustain us also sustain the world. As you rest, this harmony deepens. Within your cells, nutrients continue their quiet labor, rebuilding, renewing, protecting. The heart beats softly, powered by magnesium and potassium. The brain dreams, its neurons restored by the B vitamins that guide its energy. The blood flows, carrying iron and oxygen, the ancient companions of life. In this stillness, the body and the earth are one continuous rhythm, exchanging energy and matter in a timeless dance. And so, the story of vitamins and minerals draws to a gentle close, not as an ending, but as a circle completed. The nutrients that flow through your body today once belonged to the soil, the sea, the stars. They will one day return there, as life gives itself back to the world from which it came. This is the eternal cycle: nourishment, becoming life, life becoming renewal, renewal becoming peace. To live in harmony with it is to live wisely, to age gracefully, and to find, in the quiet balance of body and spirit, the true meaning of longevity.